uwager.lv, sportsbook, and casino. Sign up today at uwager.lv, the premier online sportsbook, taking wagers since 1998. The most player-friendly lines, weekly juice specials, and a true dime line in MLB. Unique casino platforms with thousands of games. Play poker, high stakes, low stakes, or tournament play. uwager.lv, what we offer. Free same-day payouts. Customer service and wagering support, 24/7, year-round. Free monthly rebates on your action and daily casino rebates. Contests, free bets, best bonuses, and giveaways. Generous referral program. Get an 80% free play bonus on your first deposit, up to $1,000. Sign up today, and use promo code SPORTSWEB. Remember, you can't win if you don't play.
Are you an athlete or professional struggling with life or career transition? Life isn't always easy, but hope is always present. Best Hope Counseling will help you move forward. For nearly a decade, licensed marriage and family therapist Larry Baumgartner has helped clients empower change and discover solutions using a solution-focused therapy approach. Conversations will focus on what you desire to change, not just the problems that brought you into counseling. From anger to depression or other emotions, Best Hope Counseling is there for you. Contact Larry personally on his direct line at 727-946-1346. Again, 727-946-1346 for a telehealth appointment in Florida and Minnesota, or in person an appointment in Minnesota. Take time out and begin your game plan to reconnect, rebuild, and restore happiness in your life. BestHopeCounseling.com. Announcement up is the third annual pre-Labor Day car show by Twisted Outlaws on September 3rd at the Stockyard, by the Stockyard there in Holiday, Florida. The Sports Web will definitely be out there. You'll have raffles, vendors, cash prizes, show cars, car audio, and of course the evolution of sports talk television. Get out there. The address is 1916 US Highway 19 in Holiday, Florida. Here we go.
The third annual pre-Labor Day car show is speeding your way September 3rd, only at the Stockyard in Holiday, Florida, with cash prizes, raffles, and vendors from all over Pasco County. Don't miss out on this used car show competition, where we are handing out trophies for Best of Show, Best Audio Setup, Best Paint Job, Best Original Design, and many, many more. Call today for more information.
I love that. Here's where I will be on September 3rd. going on, guys? It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, here on a Wednesday night. Hopefully you guys are safe and sound after the hurricane hit here the last couple of days. How do we start off this show right now? Really quick, though, just to update the score, because I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. Your Tampa Bay Rays have gone in front of the Miami Marlins in the 10th inning, 3-0. So how do we start it off? Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. Once again, I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. So we'll talk about your Tampa Bay Rays tonight. We have a Bucs roundtable with great guests like, of course, the legend himself, Leo Haggerty, former coach, scout, and now media member of Night Sports Productions. Rick Sassone of Rocket Sports and Entertainment. Let me tell you something about this guy. Don't make a joke, and I have proof of this. He said back in 2017 that Patrick Mahomes in that draft was going to be the best quarterback, and sure enough, he absolutely nailed it. I got video proof of that. I got to show that sometime, but we'll have Rick back on again. And then, of course, we're supposed to have Roy Cummings on, a former Tampa Tribune writer and now Spectrum 360, getting you ready for what else? Your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's almost that time. At 9:30, we will have Louis Murphy, of a reporter from NB Sports TV, a Major League Baseball Hispanic show, talking about what else? The Wander Franco situation, which seems like it's getting worse by the day, with another allegation reported by Jeff Passan. The more these allegations go, the more they come out, the worst of an opportunity then he's going to be able to play for the Rays at the end of it. And, of course, we'll talk about the Tampa Bay Rays, who, by the way, are 10-4 since Franco's absence. And then, of course, about 10:20, we'll have Turnbuckle Talk, talking about professional wrestling, WWE, AEW action, and, of course, as always, taking your phone calls, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. The other number, in case you can't get through, 727-409-7528. Again, 727-409-7528. I want you to call up. I want you to talk about your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I want you to talk about your Tampa Bay Rays. I want you to talk around the NFL. What do you think about the Jonathan Taylor situation? Players out there being cut. Should the Bucs go out and get them? What do you think about the quarterback situation? And then, you know what? Because I'm just a human being and I love you guys, I really do. I'm a genuine person about this. How are you doing with the hurricane situation? Call me up. Talk to me tonight. We'll be ready to go. So let's go out to these comments, and then we'll get out to our guest. Christopher O'Reilly says, sadly, I think this injury will force Jensen to retire. Shaking my head. Jessica Adams, PETA. What's going on, Jessica? Yeah. Christopher Cole, I completely agree with, or Christopher O'Reilly, excuse me. I agree with you. Yo, let's talk about Marquise Watts. Absolutely. One of my favorite webheads right now, Mr. JJ Johnson right there. You put me on him. Number 58 is actually made the club. Andrew Fulbert, the big board. What's good? Let's go out again. Absolutely. We'll talk about that. Nicholas says Baker Resurrection Project. I like it. Milo Jackson, let's talk about Ryan Jensen doing the Bucs a solid and restructuring his deal. Good man. That was the report there. I think it was OTC Brian over the cap, talking about how Jensen the next year and the other year after that has done some restructuring to help the Bucs out with that deal going forward. Let's go out to Christopher Cole, Christopher O'Reilly, Christopher Cole. Meet each other. Evening, guys. What's going on? Oh, yeah. And Ralph Williams, bodyguard of the Berg. Peter, talk with you later. Absolutely. So without further ado, let's get this man's intro on. Here we go. Former Coach Scout and now media member of Night Sports Productions, Amped Up Sports, covering USF, covering the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, covering all things sports. Mr. Leo Haggerty, welcome to the evolution of Sports Talk Television tonight. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing fine, Peter. I'm down in Austin, Texas. I had to evacuate. We were in Zone A, but we got the all clear to come back tonight. So I'll be back in Tampa shortly.
Yeah, you definitely have missed. You missed a hurricane here, which Florida was lucky to miss. Catastrophic 4. Lots of flooding, not necessarily here, but in other places. And I guess we lost Leo there to Wi-Fi. You got to love that. So let's go out to this guy right here, Rick Sassone of Rocket Sports and Entertainment, of course, with that big. And then there you go. There's Leo right there. Still waiting for Roy. I sent him on his Facebook, so I don't know if he got it or not. Maybe one of you will send him the link. We can get him on, or maybe he just forgot. Because, gentlemen, we were actually supposed to do this last week, but, when you get older, your back starts to hurt to the point of where you can't even get up out of bed or get up to set up your equipment. So thank God for everything else that we're here right now doing this. Let's start it off here as Leo goes out. So I guess we're going to be dealing with this all night long. We'll see if we can get him back on. Rick, welcome to the Sports Web, my friend. How are you doing tonight?
Oh, Pete, I'm doing great. I'm on with you. Absolutely wonderful, buddy. So good. It's been too long. I'm so excited. Was a little disappointed last week. I hope you're feeling better there. But, man, we're on tonight. Let's rock it, man. This is fun.
Let's definitely rock it. Let's see. There is Leo right there. There we go. It's going to be a situation all night again to update the score. Rays up 3-0. Bottom of the 10th here, so we'll see if the Rays can close it out. Of course, they would gain a full game over the Baltimore Orioles because they lost today, so they would be 1.5 out. Would keep you abreast of that situation. Let's talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Rick, I got to get your thoughts on this. I kind of know Leo's already. What do you think about Baker Mayfield being the starting quarterback of the Bucs in 2023? Give me your thoughts.
I think it's horrible. I never liked Baker. He's been overrated. You know what I say? Name me a Big 12 quarterback, not name Mahomes, that's done anything in the National Football League. The list is out there. It's easier to just say Mahomes. The rest of them, bust after bust after bust. Wow. How about this? Baker Mayfield was taken before Josh Allen. Remember what I said? Of course, it was Cleveland. Cleveland doesn't know how to draft. What good are draft picks if you don't know how to draft? There you go. That's my Cleveland Browns theory. I wish Trask was the starter. How about that?
Well, and I tell you right now, Leo, you've seen, Trask have a great progression. He's playing better, no matter if it's second or third stringers. He's making decisive decisions. We've seen that happen this year, unlike other years. He's getting the reps. A lot of people feel like Trask should be the starter. Why do you think Baker should be the starter, in your opinion?
2 words: offensive line. Peter, they're going to need somebody with escapability. If they had an offensive line, Trask would be the answer. But to have a set-up drop-back passer right now, no. You need somebody who got to be escape, because that line, losing Jensen, now you got 4 different starters in there from who you had planned. So it's not going to be pretty. And, guys, I'm going to throw this out. I don't know if you saw the Sports Illustrated articles today in the latest – they got the Bucs at 2-15.
Wow.
2-15. They also have the top 100 players in the NFL. 1 Tampa Bay Buccaneer. That's scary.
Well, I'll tell you what a great segue, guys, because I got my handicapper professional extraordinaire here of 1252 Chicago Sports, my co-host, Mr. Harry the Greek. Let's go ahead and get his music on. Here we go. Let's get out to 2-15. That's where we start here with Sports Illustrated. I mean, that's easy money, my friend. Welcome to the evolution.
Hey, guys, we must be talking about the Houston Texans.
No, we're talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Sports Illustrated actually put out an article and is saying with all the talent that the Bucs have, I mean, I get it. I got, the Bucs sign in the background and an all-star jersey in the corner.
Listen, man, Sports Illustrated couldn't pick their nose correctly if they tried. Are you kidding me? Seriously? 2 wins? Come on.
2 wins. Yes, 2 wins.
Stop. Please stop. I mean,
the
first 5 games of the season are very tough. First off, good evening, gentlemen. Rick, I've never met you before. What's up, little Leo? Peter, thanks for having me on as usual. But 2 wins is absolutely absurd. Absolutely absurd. I've already announced it. take it to the bank, bet the over on the total wins this year. It has fluctuated from 5.5 all the way to 7. I'm still standing on my morals, whether it's Trask or Baker Mayfield. If they run the football correctly and it sets up to play action pass, everybody knows they're going to play defense. If they can pound that rock, they will win 10 games this year. The end. Simple.
I like it, and I tell you right now, I like this. I know Rays fans are going to like this. Final score, 3-0 over the Miami Marlins, your Tampa Bay Rays. So 1.5 games out of first place, keeping you updated on the score. I mean, you bet. Harry, is this an easy bet for you? 6.5 by Vegas for the Bucs? I mean,
Peter, I bought him at 5.
Okay.
I gave everybody out at 5.
What about you, Rick? I mean, 2-15. I mean, that's a little bit harsh, right?
That's ridiculous. I don't even understand that. You sure you read that correctly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Vegas has them at what, 6.5?
6.5, yeah.
Yeah.
I want the over.
I got him originally at 5. That's where I got him at originally, was at 5. You can still find them at 5.5 in some of these sports books. All you got to do is just look around for it. Look, they're not supposed to have a successful season this year. They're not. I mean, let's analyze why. New offensive coordinator, no Tom Brady. Oh, did I mention that again? No Tom Brady, who shouldn't have been here last year in the first place. Okay, let's just throw that right out there, but that's for a different segment. But you have no Tom Brady, a new offensive coordinator. They have to learn a completely new offensive system. Wait a minute. They're still a little bit banged up on the offensive line. Everything is against them, but they're going to run the football. And they have too much talent on this team. And, it really helps when you play in the worst division in football. The end.
You know what, Harry? If they run the football, you know what? If they don't run the football,
they're in trouble.
I can see 2-15 or 3-14. But again, you and I have been preaching this to the choir since 6 months ago. Run the football.
Yeah, but Leo, there's no more Byron Leftwich. Okay, you've got nobody sitting from upper management booth, sitting on the sideline with people looking over their shoulders. You know exactly who I'm talking about.
Yep.
Okay, they're not there anymore. This team will run the football. It's got to be priority number 1. That's what they did in Seattle.
Yeah. And,
all right.
And you know what? Let's be honest. Todd Bowles is on the hot seat. He's got to win football games, plain and simple. Rick, would you agree?
100%. 100%. You know, in talking about running the football, you know, I guess White's going to get the start, right? White's number 1. What's going on with Chase Edmonds? How serious is that?
Well, I tell you right now, it's funny you say that because you're wearing your Syracuse jacket there. According to various reports, Sean Tucker is going to be the number 2 running back. Can you tell us anything about this kid we already don't know with the Bucs, Rick?
He left too early.
Okay.
I think he should have stayed another year.
Okay.
But I think he's going to have some success as a pro. Okay. I think he's in a good situation. I think he's going to get some touches and get some yardage and surprise a lot of people because his first year at SU, he surprised everybody.
Look, man, that kid's really elusive. He's got decent hands, and you know what he can do that a lot of people don't know? He can actually pass protect. Catch that.
Yeah, and you know what, guys? What people don't realize, when you look at people's highlight reels, if they're running against Central Connecticut State, if they're running against Mount Holyoke, no.
Or the Carolina Panthers.
His highlight film was against Clemson. He put some serious film out against some really top-notch defenses. So, yeah, I think he's going to do well as well.
All right, guys, let's take some questions here from the webheads and, of course, the peanut gallery, if you will, on the sports web. This is what separates us from everybody else. We take your comments. We care about your fantasy football team. We care about what you think about the Bucs or your favorite NFL team here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. Let's go out to Jordy. What do you think the Bucs defense will be ranked this year? Top 5? I agree with that. I think they're top 5. I think they're surprised. I definitely think they have a chip on their shoulder, especially coming back, going back a couple of months ago with Carlton Davis saying we're going to wreck. They didn't play well last year. Devin White has something to prove. I feel like this defense could be a surprise, and they definitely could be top 5. And I think in some of these games are going to be closer than you like, and that's where the defense is going to have to be leaned on a lot. What do you say, Harry? And then we'll go to Leo.
Do I think they can be a top 5 defense? I really don't know. I mean, if they run the football, they can be a top 5 team. I mean, I could say that about my Chicago Bears as well. I mean,
Sure.
The Chicago Bears got a great linebacking crew, and I'll tell you right now, their secondary, I'll put them up against anybody in the National Football League, but they have one small problem. They can't get to the passer. But they will be much improved on defense because Chicago's going to run the football. I hate to use that as an analogy between Chicago and Tampa, but if Tampa does grasp and embrace some of that, now they're not going to run the football with QB1 here in Tampa like they're going to run in QB1 in Chicago. I mean, there's no comparisons, okay? I mean, everybody wished they had a Justin Field to go ahead and lead a running attack. I mean, that makes it a lot easier to run a football because you have no idea where you're blocking at. But as far as defense is concerned, yes, I can see them as a top 5 defense this year because they still have that nucleus together.
All right, I like it. Leo, what do you see this defense at? What have you seen from this defense? Still have talent. You re-sign Jamel Dean. You have Carlton Davis. He could stay healthy, get some interceptions there. Vea is still there. Kalijah Cansey, very excited about.
Love that pickup.
The defensive tackle from Pittsburgh. I think there's a lot of people out there that love that pickup. And Todd
Rookie of the Year. How about that one?
Wow.
Here, how about that one? You could be going down there with Rookie of the Year with this Kalijah Cansey. That's how good he is. He's got Aaron Donald written all over him. That is how good that kid is.
And the thing that I'm concerned about, Leo, is the fact that he's already dealing with an injury, so he may get off to a slow start, but all we've heard throughout training camp is flashes of brilliance, shows a fast first step, can really cause some havoc. What do you see with this defense, Leo? Top 5?
You know what, Rick? I'm going to throw it to you real quick. Top 5, no. Not a chance. Only because there are 5 other defenses in the NFL that are better. Top 10, definitely. Maybe 6, 7, or 8 in there, not top 5. There's just too many really good defenses out there that don't have question marks like the Bucs do, especially in the secondary. Rick, your call.
I agree with you, Leo. 6 through 10, definitely. Top 5, really tough. A lot of defensive talent in the National Football League. A lot of good teams out there. But, in the 3-4, it starts and stops with the guys up front. Vita Vea, love him. Loved him coming out of Washington. Hope he can stay healthy. My mom's name is Vita, means life in Italian. It's her birthday tomorrow. I'm going to be rooting for Vita Vea this year and those guys up front. Doesn't seem like they have much depth there on the defensive line. But I'll tell you, you got to have a good nose tackle to play that 3-4, especially in the National Football League.
And they definitely got lots of depth there because they've gotten younger in the draft. A guy by the name of Yaya Diaby, watch him. He's a 3rd-round pick. You got Shaq Barrett coming off an injury, but he looks like he could be 100%. You still have Devin White, Levante David there is getting a little bit older. But that's what it's going to come down to, Todd Bowles, and how creative he can be with some of these young players like a Diaby, like a Cansey, like a Gaines that they picked up in the offseason. Good stuff there, Jordy. Appreciate it. Happy birthday to your mom, by the way. All right.
Happy birthday. Hey, one last thing. I just want to jump on that.
Yes,
I do agree with both the gentlemen that are on the panel. The top 10, definitely. But even if your secondary is a little bit weak, they have something that most teams don't have. They have a front 4 that can still get after the quarterback. And
Right.
That, my friend, can make a mediocre secondary look like superstars. They can make them look a lot better than what they are.
And you know what? The nice thing about that 3-4 is you don't know where that 4th guy's coming from.
Yep.
And that is hard to block because you don't know if it's going to be the outside linebacker on the right, the left, if it's going to be one of the inside linebackers, but 4 guys are coming. And that's the key. That's going to help them a lot. And the bottom line is, I don't care what you say. You don't get a pass rush. And I preached this, Peter, to you for years and years and years. If the quarterback can throw it where he wants to, when he wants to, and to whom he wants to, he's going to beat you. You got to get him off his spot. You got to make him feel uncomfortable.
And that's what it comes down to, guys. Getting that pass rush consistently. They had some good numbers last year, like to do better. I actually think the secondary is one of their strengths. I mean, you re-sign Jamel Dean, could be one of the best young corners that nobody knows anything about because you don't want to throw on his side of the field. You got Carlton Davis, who's being paid top money, could be a top 5 corner in the league, just needs to, have more interceptions. Antoine Winfield Jr. is being shifted to his natural position now. And you've got Ryan Neal, who's Pro Football Focus's #1 safety. You also got that kid, Christian Etienne, at the nickel. I think that secondary is a lot stronger than people think, and that's why I like
that's their weak spot, Pete.
Yeah, but they have the luxury of having Desmond Ridder, unproven, although I like him and I think he'll pan out in the long run. Bryce Young, right? He's getting the start in Tennessee.
Carolina.
Carolina.
He's getting the start. David Carr, I think he's got something to prove. He's going to come in New Orleans. He's going to do a good job. But still, you got Desmond Ridder and, Bryce Young. There's 4 games right there against mediocre at best quarterbacks, just because Ridder hasn't grown and Bryce Young's a rookie. And plus, I think he's way overdrafted. You know how I feel about that.
Yeah, I know how you feel about that. Go ahead, Harry.
Rick, I got to tell you, I mean, there's a lot of people that don't know this. I've talked about it, stood in a soapbox screaming. There's a lot of reasons why people didn't go after Derek Carr. If you did any kind of tape work and really watched this guy, especially this past season with the Raiders, he had an absolutely atrocious time trying to throw the ball to his left. There is something definitely wrong with that elbow, bicep, and or shoulder. And unless he's had some kind of miracle intervention in the offseason, I don't see it going away anytime soon. It was pretty bad. There were so many underthrown balls going to his left, it wasn't even funny. And for a righty, that's the way they want to go.
You know what, Harry? It's funny you should say that, because somebody posted a picture of Derek Carr last year at camp and Derek Carr this year at camp. Looks like he put on about 15, 20 pounds of upper body muscle. So you may be right. I mean, that's the first thing I said about Baker Mayfield, is Baker Mayfield played hurt. Now, it hurt his stock, but his teammates loved him because he went out there and was a warrior.
Yeah.
So, that's huge. But
Cleveland should have been fined. Cleveland should have been fined what they did to Baker Mayfield, running him out there with that back issue, the knee issue, and the neck issue like that. Of course, any gamer is going to go out there and go, "Yeah, coach, put me in. I got a broken leg, but I still got one. I'll stand up." Are you kidding me? They almost ruined that kid's career.
Sounds like a Monty Python movie, right? It's just a flesh wound. Just a flesh wound.
Just a flesh wound.
I'll tell you right now, guys, and we're on with Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire here on the Sports Web. We got Leo Haggerty, the legend, and, of course, Rick Sassone of Rocket Sports and Entertainment, which I'll continue to preach this. This man right here told everybody, before anybody knew, that Patrick Mahomes was going to be the top quarterback coming out of that draft.
Oh, yeah.
We got it on tape, too, don't we, Peter?
We do got it on tape. I tell you what, we asked for phone calls. We get phone calls. Let's go out to the phone lines. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Welcome to the Sports Web.
All right.
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Mr. Williams.
Oh, Mr. Williams. Speak up a little bit. We can't hear you, Mr. Williams.
Put the rocks glass down, Mr. Williams, and talk on the phone.
Be quiet, Harry.
This guy sucks.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Williams. What do you got to say?
All right. Hello?
Yeah, what's going on, buddy?
All right, man. All right, Harry.
Yes, sir.
He's got a question for Harry. Go ahead.
All right. Hey, man. I understand everything you guys said.
Okay.
You know, we're gonna be in the top 8, 9 on my defense. Okay.
Okay.
Why
do you think that? Top 8 or 9 in defense. Why do you think that, Mr. Williams?
Really?
All right. Because for one, we have always, we have always had a good defense.
Good point.
To me.
Right.
Yes. Secondary, I'm glad we got us a little work on that.
Okay.
This season, because it was hurting.
Well, it was hurt last year, but if it can stay healthy, I think it's a strength, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, right. We got us some help like that this year. Antoine Winfield, I'm glad you're in the right position now.
Right.
We're going to see how that goes. Todd Bowles got to get more creative this year.
Okay.
And we got to get back there to these quarterbacks.
I agree.
Because in the South,
right,
it's going to be tough for us because there's a lot of people that's going to try to run the ball on us. And Derek Carr, yeah, you have always had problems on your left side. True enough. I see Jameis Winston going to come in, take over that team after a while.
All right.
That coach going to see.
And if that happens, they'll win 5 ball games this year.
I like where Mr. Williams is going here. What's your biggest concern with the Bucs this year? And then we got to get you.
All right. My biggest concern will be, I just want my offensive line to hold up.
Okay.
And let's open up enough holes for these guys that's coming out the backfield.
Okay. All right, Mr. Williams.
Let's open up these holes for these guys that are coming out the backfield. Mr. White, this is your year to shine.
Okay.
Let's go. And Hall, he needs to step it up a notch.
I like it, Mr. Williams. Thanks a lot for the call.
Mr.
Appreciate
Hall
you.
Need to step it up a notch this year because he needs to show why he's on that defensive line.
Agree.
Mr. Hall need to step it up this year, man.
All right, Logan Hall.
Davis.
Yes.
Carlton Davis.
Mm-hmm.
You getting paid a lot of money.
That's right.
We need you to do not lose your foot this year.
I agree.
We need you to run with these guys and let's get up and get more interceptions because you're getting paid tough money.
Yep.
And you ain't getting the interceptions for the money you're getting paid for, brother.
Great call, Mr. Williams. Appreciate it. Use that second call.
Have a good one.
Yes.
And
go Bucs.
Harris,
Yes, sir.
when your Chicago Bears come to town, man,
Don't worry. I'll have some tissue for you.
help you eat the chicken wings, man. We need.
That's right. Get that chicken wing bet going there.
Everybody's got to come over to the Greek's house. I'll have it all sitting in the backyard. We'll all have a nice little party
sometime. Thank you, Mr. Williams.
Even you, Pete.
As always, you shut up and be quiet.
This guy sucks.
All right, let's go out. And I see you cut him off. I did cut him off. I got you right there. I don't want to cut Mr. Williams off. He's one of our.
No, Peter, I agree with you. You can't cut him off. But hey, let's get down to the bottom line. I'm going to throw this to Rick right away.
Yes.
Who's in the Super Bowl, Rick, and who wins?
Oh, wow. Wow. I like Cincinnati and San Francisco.
Who's
you know
playing
what?
quarterback?
I'm gonna jump the other way. I like Philly and finally Buffalo.
Philly,
your call?
My call? It's too early in the season. You know I don't do prop bets.
Yeah, no,
very few.
Hey, if you're taking the over and under, that's a prop bet, isn't it?
Yeah, not those kind of prop bets, man. There's too many things going on this season. But if you want a stab from me, I'm going to give you a stab. In the AFC, I'm going to go deep here. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Jacksonville.
I'm going to take two teams because they're deep. Chargers and Jets.
Okay.
In the NFC, you ready?
Yeah.
I hate to tell you this. Giants.
Okay.
And
who
go ahead and take
else?
that call. Take your call. I don't know. It could be anybody.
Curtis, let's go out to you. Welcome to this roundtable here for the Bucs and, of course, around the NFL. What do you have to say, my friend, here on the Sports Web?
Listen, I just heard all you guys' Super Bowl picks, and I love you guys' picks.
Right. Speak up a little bit, Curtis.
I said I love you guys. I just heard all you guys' Super Bowl picks.
Right.
And I love you guys' picks, but I have a Super Bowl pick for the media that the media is going to blow up. All right.
And what is that?
The Jets versus the Packers.
What?
Yeah, what?
What? Did you just say Packers? Peter. Listen, I think that hurricane just blew up your brains a little bit up there in no place really where you live. Are you out of your tree?
Listen.
Packers?
Listen.
The Packers? Oh, my God. My brain just started sizzling.
I'll tell you what, guys. I can see the Jets because you talk about a top 5 defense. That may be the best in the NFL.
All right, hold on.
Aaron Rodgers can do anything. Look out.
The Jets, that's fine, but really?
He's somewhat with the media. Jordan Love, they still have talent there.
Oh
but
my God, Peter, you too, please. Oh.
No.
I love Musgrave.
Harry, you're not listening.
Watch out for the Packers. They win that division. They win the North.
What? Oh my God!
Wow.
Now they may win the North by default.
All right. Settle down. Let's listen to what Curtis has to say. Harry, I'm about to take you out of here. Go ahead.
I'm having a coronary. This is not good to give the Greek high blood pressure.
Oh my God! All right, Curtis, go ahead.
Wait, hold on. He's already going to have a coronary watching the Bears this year. Okay?
Right.
Oh,
wow,
Lord. Oh.
Number two. I think we're going to see a lot of crazy injuries this year, and injuries ruin people's chances to make it to the Super Bowl. And I'm going to tell you something. If you go down the list of the top 6 or 7 teams in the NFC, you wouldn't put the Packers in there?
No, I wouldn't. I mean, the quarterback to me is too.
It should be San Francisco.
Okay. So do you put
in the NFC though? He said the NFC.
Hold on.
So you put the Giants over the Packers?
Yeah. This team's really up and coming. I didn't really like them last year, but I like what they've done in this offseason. They're actually looking really, really, really good.
You know what? If the Giants were in another division, I'd agree with you. But 2 in Philly, 2 in Dallas, and 2 with Washington, that's got 1 in 5.
Dallas is 2 losses. Philadelphia is a shell of what they were from last year. Washington's really up and coming.
What?
Yeah.
Philly is a shell of themselves from last year. They lost a couple coordinators, but that team has all kinds of talent.
They've lost a lot of talent in that defense. They're not as good as what people think this year. Go ahead, just try it.
Agree.
This is the other question.
Yes.
How many teams do you see coming out of the NFC East for the playoffs?
1.
I would say
you see 2?
Yeah, I see 2. Yeah.
Dallas and Philly.
What about the NFC West? What about the NFC West?
I mean, San Francisco would be the team right there. I mean, Arizona, they're clearly in a rebuild. You got the Rams, big time question marks with Stafford there. In Seattle, can they? Maybe Seattle's in there again with Geno Smith. Okay, I don't know.
And then wait, the NFC South, pick your poison.
I think the Bucs win that division.
Okay,
and that's it. That's the only team coming out is the winner.
Yeah.
And how many other teams out the NFC South is going to make the playoffs?
Most likely 0.
Yeah,
exactly. So then you go to the North. You have the Vikings. The Lions. Harry, I love you. I really do believe in Justin Fields and DJ Moore. You got the Bears and you have the Packers. However, we don't know how the season's going to go. All I said is the media would lose their mind if it would be the Packers.
Oh, God, yes. They would lose their mind. You're right.
They would lose their mind if it was the Packers versus the Jets. That's all I said.
Yeah.
It would have been if the Buccaneers played the Patriots in the Super Bowl.
Right, I was thinking that. Yeah. That's exactly what I was thinking.
The Packers out right now.
Oh God.
Hey guys, I'm gonna throw this out right now. Peter, remember I told you the surprise team last year. Look for the Lions. They may have made this step.
They've been saying this since 1993.
Well, I'm telling you right now, I think the Lions definitely are in that conference.
They are an improved team. You are right, Leo. They are an improved team.
Yeah.
The Fords can't make a car. How can they run a football team? I've been saying that for years.
See, I like this guy, Rick. Where'd you find him?
He's been around. He's for Rocket Sports Entertainment. Curtis, I'm sorry. Go ahead and say what you want to say here. I'm sorry. You're very soft. You got to speak up, my friend. You got to talk over these guys. Speak up.
Can you do me a favor? Put the pipe down. Talk into the phone, Curtis.
Harry, relax here. I got this.
Green Bay.
Hey, Harry, my wife worked a 12-hour shift today. She works for Duke Energy. She's been dealing with all the outages.
Oh, that's why. He's trying to stay quiet because his wife is around. I get it now. Okay, Curtis. I understand your game.
See, I feel like Seattle's going to take a step back this year.
Okay.
The Giants are definitely going to take a big step back.
Okay.
And, I mean, we could potentially get 3 teams out of that NFC North, and I'm not saying that they're the best team, the best division in the conference, but those three teams are put better together than some of the other teams in the NFC completely. I mean, I know Jordan Love is just, a brand new quarterback, but he's got a pretty decent defense, and then he's also got some weapons around him. We've seen worse quarterback. I mean, come on, nobody expected Brock Purdy to do what he did last year. Nobody at all.
Right. Well, I agree.
Except for Harry. Harry says he's always right. So Harry probably predicted that Brock Purdy was going to go 7-1.
No, I didn't.
No, he didn't.
No, as a matter of fact, honestly, in that first game, I was like, who? Brock Purdy? I got to watch this. So I started watching his game tape. And as a matter of fact, Peter was at the house. We were watching the game. And it was after I watched the game, he asked me, so what do you think about this game? And as a matter of fact, I think it was against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I said that I think they got very lucky against Tampa. Then I went back and watched the coach's film on it and started breaking it down. And I was like, he's a mediocre quarterback playing in a system that just fits everything to a T on what he does.
Yeah.
And my friend, that's why Shanahan's probably the best offensive play caller in the entire football.
But you know what, Harry? I gotta vehemently, and that's my SAT word of the night, vehemently disagree with you on Shanahan. He's cost 2 franchises Super Bowls by his stubbornness and stupidity.
Yeah, but he called a good game.
Hey, he'd call a good game, but if he'd have run the ball in Atlanta, they'd have a Super Bowl trophy. And if he'd have called timeout in the first half, they'd have had another one in San Francisco.
You're right.
I'll tell you what, he's the most overrated head coach in the history of the NFL.
Wow.
Look what he did.
Guys, I will tell you this. If he's so great, why couldn't you do anything with Trey Lance? He hasn't been able to do it.
I don't know, because the guy blew his knee out in Chicago in week 1 when they had him playing in a monsoon. I mean,
he still couldn't do anything after that. Couldn't do anything with him. Also, he's supposed to fit this offense.
He wasn't even supposed to be playing this year, guys. I mean, the guy's coming off a torn ACL and an MCL. I mean, that's horrible, absolutely horrible. I think people have given up on him, and everybody wants to laugh about Trey Lance going to Dallas because Dallas just got done paying. Let me be very clear when I say it. They have no interest on Trey Lance playing this year. They got him for an insurance reason coming next year, because when he's ready to play, watch out, because Trey Lance can still ball.
Stand by, Tristan. Curtis, so we're going to finish up here. We'll give you that second call, my friend. This has been a crazy segment.
I love Curtis.
The only thing I was going to say is, would you have given up a 4th-round pick for Trey Lance?
Yes.
I mean, I would. Yes. But if I'm Dallas, what are you doing when you're paying Dak Prescott all that money?
It's a 4th-round draft pick.
Right, but you're paying Dak Prescott all that money. He's supposed to be your franchise quarterback.
Yeah, well, not anymore.
You know what, guys? It's gotten to a point now. You better have 2 quarterbacks, because that guy ain't getting through 17 games. It's just not happening anymore.
Hold on, let's let Curtis go ahead, Curtis. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, if Dak Prescott lays an egg, they're going to give this kid a chance. I mean, listen, how long has Dak been in Dallas?
7, 8 years.
7, yeah, it's been about that long, yeah.
And I'm going to tell you something. He's had the best offensive line.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty much his whole career. And he's always had talent around him.
Mm-hmm.
He just can't win the big game.
Yeah.
Listen, Harry, I'm going to say this. Harry, don't die. Don't have a coronary.
If it's another Green Bay thing, I can't do it.
No. He's starting to become another version of Kirk Cousins. He can't.
God, here goes the earphone.
Game in the playoffs.
Oh my God, Harry, you're losing your mind again here. All right, it's a great stuff, Curtis. As
I'm
always,
kidding.
Use
that was a really good call.
Yeah, it was a great call when we could hear you.
I'm losing my mind, Pete. Really?
You're losing your mind.
Here, take a good look. Here, hang on. Tell me.
You're losing your mind. Tristan, welcome to the Evolution here, a Roundtable, and then we're going to get out to Lewis Murphy, who I just learned, and Harry, you're going to love this. He's a Chicago Bears fan, so we'll be talking baseball.
Some sense.
Oh, okay. There you go. All right. Tristan, what do you have to say? Welcome to the Evolution.
Hey, what's going on, Peter?
What's going on, buddy? I'm trying to rein these guys in, but there's lots of football conversation here. You got to love it. So you want to get in on this conversation. What do you have to say?
Well, first, I'd like to start and say Leo seems to be the only person to be speaking with some sense up in this piece. Let's be honest.
Wow! Fighting words!
By the way, that included you, Peter.
Well, no, I mean, me and Tristan, we disagree on a lot of things. I've just looked at this team, the Bucs, and I don't think they're as bad as a lot of people want to say they are. I don't care if they don't have Tom Brady. What did they lose? Really, what did they lose in free agency that is so monumental? A fat ass Leonard Fournette? Great. Okay. What else did you lose? What did you lose on the offensive line? Donovan Smith, the human turnstile? What did you lose that was so bad, and why all of a sudden is the national media all over the Bucs? It's a lazy narrative because they don't have Tom Brady. Well, they don't have Tom Brady. Well, they had Tom Brady last year, 25-9. How good was he? He was washed up. Let's put it out there. Offensive line or not, he couldn't make the same throws. So really, in the grand scheme of things, what did the Bucs lose?
Well, it's one of those things you don't know what you got till it's gone. And in comparison to the rest of those guys with Donovan Smith, it don't seem so bad right now, to be honest.
Well, I tell you right now, I don't know if you watched the Ravens game, and I get it's a preseason game, but Tristan Wirfs, you didn't say his name all night long. You know why? Because he had the other guy locked up. You didn't say anything about Luke Gedeke. You didn't say anything about the offensive line. I get it's the biggest question. You're missing Ryan Jensen. The sky is falling, everything else, and you don't know what you got until it's gone. Here's what's gone. The distraction process is gone. Divorce rumors are gone, and all the outside noise of this team is gone. This team actually will be better than what they were last year. That is what you got.
Oh, now we're talking some football, Peter. Let's address the Ravens point that you just made.
Sure.
The Ravens minus Calais Campbell didn't start none of their vets on the D-line. I don't think that we saw any type of power from the Ravens, to be honest with you.
Okay.
So, of course, going against some guys who probably be working for UPS isn't too bad right now.
Or FedEx.
But then we go to the division. You look at our division, what you got with the Saints. The Saints, they have a great pass rush. They've always had a consistent pass rush with Davenport and the long vet.
They're decent. Cam Jordan's up there in age. I mean, that defense has gotten older. I mean, let's not act like the Saints are world beaters here, because the Bucs actually swept them last year with Tom Brady. Didn't see his best days with the defense that supposedly is not that good.
In fairness, they beat us 5 times before that. So, I mean, that's a trade. It's a division game, so it's a wash.
Yeah.
Carolina's defense, we have to admit, their pass rush with Brian Burns and some of the new guys they got out there is pretty studly out there.
Not bad.
Yeah, you know.
Hold on, Harry. Hold on. Go ahead, Tristan.
Okay.
Yeah, the offense may have a few questions there, but that defense with Carolina is a sure thing. Just looking at it, as far as what he said here, I do agree with Harry, and I said it before the first preseason game. This looks like a 5 to 6 win team, saying that they play stellar. The O-line is unproven. And I know he said that the secondary is the weakest point of the defense, and I like to disagree. I think the D-line is the weakest point of the defense. There is, literally outside of Shaq Barrett, there's no pass rush to generate. And we're putting a lot of pressure and hope, H-O-P-E, on a lot of these young guys to produce pass rush on the defense.
That's a fair point. You have Vita Vea, who led in sacks last year. Again, you got JTS, who needs to finish, who's looked like he's finished. By the way, I get it. It was training camp, but did you see him knock the hell out of Aaron Rodgers for those 3 sacks and hard knocks? I get it. Again, it's training camp, but if you're playing real here, JTS needs to finish. You got Yaya Diaby, you got Kalijah Cansey. And if you listen to Harry has never said this Bucs team is a 5 or 6 win team. In fact, what he said is they're a 10 to 13 win team if they focus on running the ball with Rashard White and others on this team.
Again, wait a second. I'm having a heart attack on 13 wins. Hold on.
Well, I mean, hey, listen, you're having a heart attack on it. You'll go talk to Tristan Wirfs, because he's at 12-5. And there's a lot of players.
Oh, God, no. Oh, my God. 12 wins? Not a chance. And again, guys, hey, and Rick, you and I have seen this time and time again. Injuries are going to play in to all 32 teams. It's just a matter of when they happen.
And you brought up injuries, and Pete, you remember back from the show in Tampa.
Sure.
You know why there's a lot of injuries? Because nobody plays during the preseason.
Exactly.
There's guys that haven't taken, and there's 2 sports that you can't simulate: hockey and football, because of the violent contact. So, as soon as I said they cut back to the preseason game, that's a mistake. Nobody hardly ever played when there were 4. Now that there's 3, nobody plays. So the biggest joke, the National Football League and these coaches and these teams, they don't play players in the preseason so they don't get hurt, which translates to more hurt during the regular season.
And,
I can't even talk anymore about that.
Rick, that was probably the
guys?
most sensible thing anybody said on this program tonight. And that's the truth, because usually the first 3 weeks of football, you can't even think about even handicapping or even, I mean, you can try to handicap it and make some wagers, but in reality, people are just getting warmed up. It's the truth, man. The preseason, if they don't want to play their starters, what are you even playing it for?
You know what, Harry? I'm going to take that from 3 weeks to 4 weeks for 2 reasons. One,
I was being nice.
You got starters that haven't used to play 4 quarters. And the second thing is nobody tackles anymore in preseason. It takes them 4 weeks. Watch how bad the tackling is the first 4 weeks. That'll change when we get to October. But, guys, I'll tell you what. That's the biggest thing. I look at so many, as they would say in baseball, swings and misses. Man, it's not pretty.
All right, Tristan, wrap it up here. Give me some final thoughts, and we'll let you use that second call if you're nice to me, okay?
Got you. Final
Tristan,
thought.
I give you $20 if you tell them off.
You shut up and be quiet, Harry. And by the way, we're not doing anything with Bob Barker's sound effect there. We're going to keep that. That is a part of the show now. So, rest in peace, Bob Barker, 99 years old.
And chicken wings.
And we're keeping that right there.
This guy sucks.
Every time you say it. All right, go ahead, Tristan. Yes.
That I leave you guys with a tidbit to bite on, and I know Harry might appreciate this being a handicapper. Theoretically, no matter who's been playing the running back position for the last 8 years, the team has not gotten more than 1,500 yards throughout the season. So I don't think with this O-line that's going to improve this year with unproven commodities such as Rashad White at running back. Also, the pass rush, as far as the edge, to sit back and say JTS trying Shoyinka is going to just come out and automatically be a stud and morph into the great Marcus Jones all over again is just not going to happen. So we can go ahead and burp the baby on that. I think that if we're going to win games this year, it's going to have to be scheme. But if the season goes as I think, and I think the run game gets stuff early and often, and Baker has to throw the ball 30 or more times,
That's a loss. That's a loss.
That's a fair point, and that's exactly why I think Baker's going to fit well in this system, because they are going to emphasize the run game with Rashard White, Sean Tucker, Chase Edmonds, and they're not going to commit those penalties. All right, Tristan, thanks a lot for the call. Use that second call, my friend.
Oh, yeah.
As always, killing it here on the Sports
Hey,
Web.
hey, Peter, can Rick and I get a parting shot before we go off?
Absolutely you can, Leo. Go ahead, your final thoughts here on the Sports Web, my friend.
I'm going to let Rick go first because he's the guest. Rick, let her have it.
Well, I can't believe you didn't ask me about this year's quarterback. I think the quarterback class was horrible this year, but I do have one that I'm going to root for to come out and be the best, and that's Anthony Richardson. How about that? Another thing, getting back to the quarterbacks, I didn't tell you this. I have 2 keeper fantasy football leagues.
Oh, yeah.
I have aggravated every week because my choices on quarterbacks is Joe Burrow and Josh Allen on one team and Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes on the other.
Nice.
I drafted those guys as rookies. And here's another team that I have. And these were all rookie drafts. And I've won the championship twice, just not back-to-back.
Stand by.
This is my really good team. And I drafted these guys all as rookies. So maybe, I'm kind of old now, but maybe I should have been a scout. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, McCaffrey, Pollard, Ingram, Chandler, and Chase Brown. Just got them. But listen to my wide receivers. Drafted all these guys as rookies. Devontae Adams, Tariq Hill, Cooper Kupp, Alan Lazard, I got in a trade actually, and Jahar Dotson.
Wow.
I don't, and Pete, I said it, and it's very frustrating because I see these NFL teams, and it's painful to be me sometimes because I see him and I'm going, how could you not see that guy's going to stink?
Rick,
how can you not see that?
Somebody's calling you out right now, my friend. Milo Jackson says, Rick just lost all credibility. Anthony Richardson. I like your fantasy football setup, gentlemen. We asked this today on the JP Peterson show, as I'm the co-host and executive producer. If you guys didn't know, what rookie quarterback has more wins this year? Anthony Richardson, CJ Stroud, or Bryce Young? Rick, go.
CJ.
Now, Rick first here. Go ahead.
Anthony Richardson.
Excuse me.
Anthony Richardson. It's going to surprise everybody.
Why?
I don't know. I really didn't know Mahomes. Mahomes, I said he transferred. Now, I didn't watch Richardson as much in college as I did Patrick Mahomes, but I don't know. I just got a hunch on it. No other reason.
I think losing Jonathan Taylor for the next 4 weeks is not necessarily the best thing. You lose a franchise running back. I have major questions about the Colts and their organization, especially ownership. I'm surprised you would say that. Although Richardson, I also predicted him to be a top 5 pick, which is why I won a steak dinner from Harry the Greek, my co-host. And, of course, also chicken wings from Leo Haggerty there. I like the guy's talent. I just don't know if this organization has put enough around him. Leo Haggerty, who has more wins, Richardson, Stroud, or Bryce Young, and why?
Peter, I'm going to answer it this way. None of the above. Will Levis will have more wins because he'll take over for Tannehill. Watch.
Wow, Will Levis right there, who's not a starter right now. You say he's going to take over. So, all right, good stuff, Leo. Always kind of throw me a curveball there. Harry, I know you're chopping at the bit for this. Who has more wins at the end of the day?
Well, I didn't realize that I could go Will Levis because Will Levis is a cinch.
Will Levis. That's
absolutely. If he's coming in, he will have the most success because he's going to be the best quarterback in this draft.
I cannot believe
Harry, there's very few things we agree on. That's
one
of them.
I like that. I was thinking starters. I didn't think of him.
I think Will Levis could be a bust. I honestly think he could be a bigger bust than Anthony Richardson.
Of course.
Peter, remember,
listen, any guy, I'll put it out there right now for you webheads. Any guy that abuses, the webheads and the fans here of the sports web, any guy that abuses the privilege of his coffee, putting mayonnaise in his coffee, there's got to be something wrong with him.
Who did that?
Will Levis, your boy.
Okay, and this is coming from the guy that doesn't even a vegetable. That's coming from you.
What the hell does that matter?
Will you stop it? I wish I had your sound effect board right now.
Well, you don't, because it's not your show. Putting mayonnaise, putting mayonnaise in coffee is messed up. Yes, he did. We got to go to our phone call, and then we'll get you guys out of here. Mike, welcome to the evolution. Mayonnaise and coffee, bro. There's something wrong with you.
You know what? Brown butter and coffee.
Brown what?
20 times better. Brown butter. Like brown butter. Like cinnamon flavored butter that you get at like steakhouses, like Cody Steakhouses. They pair it with the baked potato or sweet potato. You got that nice little thicky, sugary butter.
We have
I stick to cream and sugar with coffee. Why are you trying to overdo this?
I think I need a single malt scotch right now.
I think
anybody else? Leo?
Dealing
Rick?
with co-host.
I'm just waiting for the cat to come in with the drinks.
Go to Charlie Sheen method. Chocolate milk and coffee in the morning.
Okay, chocolate milk and coffee, I can deal that.
That sounds like a Peter drink right there.
Mayonnaise and coffee is not. There's something
Peter,
wrong with it.
I understand that, but this is coming from the guy that goes to Burn's Steakhouse and says, let me have it well done with a Shirley Temple.
I've never been to Burn's Steakhouse, so how would you know I've been to Burn's Steakhouse? I've never been to Burn's Steakhouse, and I like my stuff well done.
I've been to Burn's Steakhouse. I like my...
What does that matter?
That's roadkill.
Oh, my God.
Guys, look, steak well done is okay. Mayonnaise and coffee is not okay.
Yeah, anybody that takes mayonnaise and coffee ain't afraid to sit in the pocket either.
Oh, God. That's the next comment here. Let's go out to that. Jay, anyone who puts mayo in their coffee is a guy who isn't afraid to stand in the pocket and hit the deep receiver. Jesus.
But guess what, though? I'm glad that you put that out there. I'm glad that you unfolded and you put it out there that we're not going to be like this 2-15 team, 3-14 team.
No, of course they're not.
That asshat Peter King puts us in the losers bracket every year. We didn't lose anybody.
Was that who did it? Was it Peter King that said that about the Bucs this year, guys?
Peter King, but if it was,
Peter King has been running us through the grinder for freaking decades.
Yeah, he has. All right, Mike, appreciate the call. Use that second call if you want to. Guys, we'll get out of here on that. Rick, you were talking about your final thoughts. Leo, give me some final thoughts. Mike, call back a little bit later here because we're about to talk about baseball.
Please don't leave us, Leo.
Yeah, no, I got to get out of here, guys.
Oh,
Final
Leo,
thoughts?
please don't leave me with him.
Final thoughts is USF opens up Saturday at Western Kentucky. Coach Golish's first game. We're going to see what happens. And Rick, I'm going to throw it back to you. Please tell us how your wife is doing.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, she's doing very good, improved. I'm back in the office now, so I don't need to be with her 24/7. She's getting up and around. Her recovery is ahead of schedule. So thank you for asking me.
I'll keep her in my prayers.
Yep, the hockey hottie right there, Wendy. We appreciate you here on the Sports Web. We did some radio together, so God bless you and your wife. And once again, Rick, you killed it tonight, as always. Thanks a lot for your time. Leo, tomorrow I hear a little birdie tell me, that you're going to be on the J.P. Peterson show talking about USF and all college football. And I also heard that Harry the Greek is going to be on the J.P. Peterson show tomorrow. Yep, that's right. Harry the Greek, yes, sir. Giving your
Lord have mercy.
Yeah, Lord have mercy on all of us.
Mea culpa, mea culpa, mea maxima culpa.
On that note,
Rick, I've never met you, but seriously, Peter brings this, I don't know, this inner demon that I have, and it just comes out. Okay, it's like my head will spin around because some of the nonsense I got to hear, it just kind of spins around like this.
Dude, you are the king of nonsense. You're right up there.
Listen, bro, I am the chef of the poo-poo soup, and you know it.
I know this, you are. All right, Rick, thanks a lot for your time. We'll get you out of here on that. Don't be a stranger right there. Leo, see you later. Harry, let me put you in the lobby. Let's take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll switch gears and talk about your Tampa Bay Rays and also the Wander Franco situation. And as always, take your call, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. The other number, in case you can't get through, 727-409-7528. It's the Sports Web. Keep it locked. Are you an athlete or professional struggling with life or career transition? Life isn't always easy, but hope is always present. Best Hope Counseling will help you move forward. For nearly a decade, licensed marriage and family therapist Larry Bumgartner has helped clients empower change and discover solutions using a solution-focused therapy approach. Conversations will focus on what you desire to change, not just the problems that brought you into counseling. From anger to depression or other emotions, Best Hope Counseling is there for you. Contact Larry personally on his direct line at 727-946-1346. Again, 727-946-1346 for a telehealth appointment in Florida and Minnesota, or in person an appointment in Minnesota. Take time out and begin your game plan to reconnect, rebuild, and restore happiness in your life. BestHopeCounseling.com. All right, welcome back to the evolution of Sports Talk Television. It's the Sports Web. I'll be your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. We'll get out to Harry in a moment, but let's get out to this guy right here, Mr. Lewis Murphy, reporter, also sports broadcaster of MB Sports TV, mbsportstv.tv, a Major League Baseball Hispanic show. We're going to hold off on calls. If you want to talk about it, we'll talk about the Tampa Bay Rays. But welcome to the evolution, my friend. How you doing? What did you tell me off here just now? You're a Chicago Bear fan and also barbecue on Harry. I already like this guy. Welcome to the Sports Web.
Thank you for having me, Peter.
Absolutely. And let me go out to Harry the Greek because he said it best. He said he's a Chicago Bear fan, and he said barbecue on you. So I agree with that, as long as we're not talking mayo and coffee. Lewis, mayo and coffee? Come on.
I don't do that.
No, who does that?
I don't do that. But, hey, definitely I do the barbecue at the Harry Greek house.
Well, there you go.
Listen, Luis.
It's the bear things.
Mi casa, su casa.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Well, there you go. Well, let's talk about the Tampa Bay Rays now 11-4 without Wander. You covered that situation. You told me off here. What was that?
11-3, Peter. 11-3. They have
11-3. Excuse me. I thought they were 10-4. Now they're 11-3. So 11-3 without Wander Franco. First and foremost, Tell me about that situation when you were covering it, about, how the clubhouse was, how everybody around the situation at the time was.
Basically, when we find out the press box, it was somebody to talk to us regarding the information was getting out of in the media and also in the social pages, and we start wondering about what's going to happen. At the end of the game, we went down to the Kevin Cash press conference. He didn't say much. He just said he didn't want to comment on it. He knew something was going on, and then we went to talk to the players, but the atmospheres at the dugout wasn't that good. So I understood what's going to happen, and so I left and I didn't talk. We've been following the story. Like today, Jeff Passan of ESPN said that another girl in Dominican Republic has put in another injunction in his case, but unfortunately, in Dominican Republic, so many things happen, and we don't have the correct information and the facts that's going on in the situation. But I know it's severe. MLB already put him on an absence leave, and also the team.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to make of this situation because, again, there are allegations. But like you said, Jeff Passan reporting today that once again, there's another investigation. It is a second victim in this. So, and the Rays have done their best to basically distance themselves from Franco, taking down the jerseys, redoing the commercials with him. I mean, I feel like, Louis, that if this goes any longer, that you're not only not going to see him this year with the Rays, but you may not see him ever again. That's how serious these allegations are. What do you make of it? Do you think this can be resolved in the next month, or do you think this drags out for possibly next year?
It all depends on what's going on in Dominican Republic and what's the diligence with the authorities there. I know the Rays, what are they doing is strictly the instruction of MLB. MLB is the one who's doing the investigation of the situation. So for me, after following all the story, I don't think he'll be playing this year.
I don't think he's going to play ever again, unfortunately. And it's a shame because that young man at one point in time was the creme de la creme of baseball. He was the top prospect. But you know what? Sometimes we just have to put those type of things aside. It's not about your, how good you are or how you play the game. It's about a person's characteristic. Minors are minors, whether you're in a Dominican, you're in Puerto Rico, or whether you're here in the United States. It's not right. But then again, there's always two sides to a story. But if the Rays have taken his jerseys down and they're redoing the commercials, they want no affiliation with this young man. And I feel bad for him. I feel bad for the mistakes that he may or may not have made. We don't know all the truth, and I don't want to be one-sided when I say this, but let me be very clear when I say this. When there's smoke, there's fire. And he hasn't even publicly come out and said anything to try to defend himself in the slightest. So therefore, it's not going to look good. But people are going to take this to become a little comical when I say this. But if your name's not Deshaun Watson, well, then you can't get away with it.
Well, you can't get away. You're exactly right. You can't get away with it, and you should never be able to get away with it if it's true. And I feel like if it is true, what do the Rays do at that point? Because they're already distancing themselves. Do you think that they would trade him? Would he have any value? Or basically, in your opinion, Louis, do you think he would basically be done with Major League Baseball forever?
Well, I have no idea what they're going to do, but the contract have to have a clause that say if you don't behave the way the contract is done, it should be a clause that the contract will be like done and you don't have to trade him. But we don't have the facts, so we don't really know what's going on. We just know some things that went out on social media. Then the communication of the Rays and MLB saying that they put it on a leave or absence, administrative leave, or of any situation they have under investigation. Today, another situation came out, but as I say before, as a responsible media and covering MLB, I don't want to make any comments regarding that because I don't have the facts on it. I can talk to you about what the Rays are doing the days I've been covering the games, and also all the great things that happened with the Rays regarding the situation after Franco leave like you were saying, they went to San Francisco. They beat San Francisco series 2-1. Then they went to Anaheim. They beat Anaheim 2-1. They did got Colorado at home 3-0. Then New York Yankees 2-1. Now they went to the Marlins 2-0. That's 11-3. So I think they're doing good without Franco. I know they're missing a great player, an all-star, and the best WAR average of the team and MLB. But fortunately for the team, after today's win and the Orioles lost 10-5 to the White Sox, they are 1.5 games behind first place in the East Division of the American League.
Yeah, I don't want to put you in that situation because I know you're Major League Baseball media, and I respect your time, and I respect you coming on here on the Sports Web. So we will stay away from that. I just wanted to get your thoughts on it, but you're exactly right. 11-3 ever since Franco is kind of, been gone from the clubhouse. It seems like they have come together. I mean, what do you make of this team? A lot of people say with all the injuries, with Franco gone, there's no way they can compete for a World Series, let alone an AL East title. What do you say to those people from what you've seen and how you've covered this team the last couple months?
Well, right now they're doing the right things. At the end of the trade line, they got Aaron Civale from the Cleveland Indians without knowing that they were going to lose Shane McClanahan until 2025 because he's going to go to surgery, to Tommy John surgery. So now the rotation that they're using is Aaron Civale, Zach Eflin, that today was great, 6 and 1/3 inning, only 4 hits, no earned runs, no base on balls, 4 Ks. Tyler Glasnow and Zach Little should be the four on the rotation. I don't want to forget about Taj Bradley, a young pitcher that they used at the beginning of the season. I know he's 5.67 ERA and 5 wins, 7 losses, but he was a great young kid growing up in a big situation. It's the same thing that now they're bringing up Osleivis Besabe. He's one of the top prospects of the organization. And we have to understand that this kid is coming to a situation that he knows that he's calling to MLB, not because he's ready for MLB. He's coming to the situation of Wander Franco, and he's behaving. He's making the point. He's making the average. He got 47 at bat, 12 hits, 1 home run. That was a grand slam here in Tampa, and 255 average. I know he's not Wander Franco, but I think that for the situation he's bringing, he's doing a great season. He's having a great so far. He's doing a great job for the team. And also, we have to know that in a couple of days, Taylor Walls is coming out from the IL. So that's another situation that why Osleivis Basabe was brought up, because Tyler Walls supposed to be the shortstop after Wander Franco, but he was on the IL. So that's a huge situation that this kid came out and he's giving the team the best chance to win, and so far he's doing great.
I'll tell you right now, I like this guy's passion because I could hear him banging on the table while he was telling me all this. I love that. He fits perfectly here on the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire, and, of course, Lewis Murphy of, once again, MBSportsTV.tv, a Major League Baseball Hispanic show. My friend, you've definitely brought it tonight. Talking about the young shortstop, do you think they keep him up here, continue to keep him up there? Because, again, it seems like, he's one of their top prospects. He can do it all. He's been able to hit. He's been able to hit for power. Do you keep him up here even if Taylor Walls comes back, in your opinion?
My opinion is they should keep him over.
Okay.
Because he's already came into a bad situation. I think he deserved who stayed in the team. He's doing really well. He's great defense. He's hitting the ball when they need it. I know Tyler Walls is a great player. We should have him also on the team, but I think they will keep him. Also, another thing I want to point out of the team is that they put on assignment Francisco Mejias. He was the catcher of the WBC of Dominican Republic. But I want to make a point is that Rays, the Tampa Bay Rays, they use analytics. And when they check the analytics about Pinto, the catcher that they use out, they find out that the pitchers have better ERA when Pinto was catching, and also Pinto has better framing the ball than Francisco Mejia. That's when I interview some of the people outside the team, is those analytics was the decision why they stay.
He also calls a really good game, Luis. He calls a really good game. You know what? A really good friend of mine, the great, one of the best closers ever in baseball, Roberto Hernandez, told me, quote unquote, he says, the easy part is to make it to the MLB. The hard part is to stay. And you're right. Basabe, he should stay. He's gone through a very difficult situation. Let me tell you something. He's taking over for somebody in the midst of all these allegations, and still to produce the way he's producing. He doesn't have the glove, okay, that Wander does. But let me be very clear. He is going to play very well, and I think he's got a very bright future in Major League Baseball.
Let me ask you this.
I agree with you, Harry, 100%.
All right, let me ask you this. And by the way, barbecue is on you, Harry, according to Lewis. He says that
it's Luis, not Lewis.
Oh, I thought it was Lewis. Is it Lewis or Luis?
Whatever you want to call.
See, I told you. So you continue to try to undermine me on. And you say, "I'm off with your
Luis,
head."
I'm making the barbecue. It's Luis.
Right? It's Luis. It's Luis.
See,
Whatever it is.
See, you're wrong, Harry. You're wrong.
This guy sucks.
Oh Lord, he just loves to say that. You believe this, Lewis?
You're wrong, Harry. You're wrong. Listen, Lewis, do you think that baseball teams, especially the Rays, depend too much on analytics at the end of it?
No.
You know what? I thought that last year's and the first year that I came to cover the race, but this year I talked to Kevin a couple times, and I talked to some of the players, and I also talked to some coaches. And what I'm seeing this year, they're using analytics, but they using also old school baseball. They're running the bases, they're stolen bases, they're doing double steals. They are bunting, and one of the reasons they're doing that is because of the rule changes. That's one of the reasons that Kevin Cash told me when I interviewed him. I said, like, listen, Kevin, I see in this team using the analytics, but also using old school baseball as some years ago, and it's because of the rule changes. Like the bases are bigger now. The clock, the pitching clock, also you can go to the first like twice only. So they're making changes on how they play. But yes, I think the Tampa Bay Rays is one of the teams that use more analytics. But this year especially, they're changing that to use a little bit more old school baseball, also like a little bit of mix, and also they're changing the platoon. The platoon that we used a couple of years ago, that they changed a lot of players. I think when they now give the third base to Isaac Paredes the majority of the time, I think when Yandy Diaz signed the extension of the contract and he's staying on first base, I think City should be our center field. I think Arozarena will stay on the left field. Now, sometimes I talk to players like Harold Ramirez, say, I don't have so much playing time, but it's because they're already changing that platoon. And I want to say something about Harold Ramirez. He's one of the best hitters of the team right now. Yeah. But he don't have a position to play because he played first base. But right now we have one of the great first basemen of MLB, all-star on Yandy Diaz, and also what you gonna put in on the outfield? You got Josh Law, you have Jose Ziri, and you have Randy Arozarena.
Sometimes the most valuable player on a baseball team is that utility player, and that's exactly what you described to me. If you have an extraordinary utility player that can play outfield and infield, he can pinch hit, he can run the bases, that's invaluable, man.
Yeah, agree. And I mean, Harold Ramirez, when he pinch hits, is 9 for 15 this year. Kevin Cash was talking about it last night. He just goes up there and hits the ball, doesn't think about it, and he's been, again, very valuable for this Rays team. Talk about the new rules. Do you like the new rules? At first, did you like them, and now have you warmed up to them, or did you like the new rules when they came out because you have no more shift? It seems to favor a team like the Rays. It seems to favor a lot of teams out there that not only you make the pace of the game a little bit faster for the fans also, but you have lots of stolen bases. Do you like the new rules in baseball, Lewis?
Well, I do. I At the beginning I wasn't sure, but now after the games are faster, they're quicker, they're more exciting because we have a player on second base. Also, you're stealing more bases. You now are seeing more the bond. I hate the shift. I didn't like the shift at all. I think that's one of the best things that happened in baseball. Taking out the shift, you need the player excitement. You need the player ability to play the position that he's playing, like second base, shortstop. If you put a guy on the like a short field, if you're playing softball, the hitter, like left-hander hitter, there wasn't doing very great because of that. I think that the shift, taking out the shift is great. Bigger bases, maybe the first concern is because you get hit when you go to first base, you get less injured. But now it's closer a little bit, 30 seconds. I don't know. People are running, game is faster. I really like it. I have a little bit concern about the pitching club because of the old school pitchers, but they have to adjust. We have seen that the guys who are coming from minor leagues, they're doing better because they have the clock already doing it last year, but they have a little bit concern, like Scherzer said, like he's changing on pitching, but they have to adjust. They have to. The game is changing. It's a fast pace, and people love that.
I agree with Luis on that. The only thing I don't particularly care for, I'm not a big fan of the pitch clock, but I'm kind of getting used to it. But I'll never get used to it, and I can't wait till Major League Baseball gets rid of it. You got to get rid of this extra innings crap that they got going on to put a runner on second. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, that's a weird rule. I mean, do you like that rule, Lewis? The extra man, the man on second for extra innings. Do you like that, or should it be just, like it always?
Well, the only reason they're doing that is to fast pace the game, because that's
but
the
they
only
don't do it
way
in the playoffs.
Because if not, they gonna be doing more innings and more innings they don't hit. I really don't like it, but it's also they use an international rule. In fact, in the WBC, they didn't use that rules, but they didn't use the bases, they didn't use the clock. But you know what? Since the beginning of the World Baseball Classic, they be using that man on second base.
How valuable has Yandy Diaz become for this Rays team this year, in your opinion?
Oh my God, amazing! I think Yandy has been very valuable for the team for past years, but I think as soon as the team valued him and sign him and extend the contract for 3 years, I think that he feel better and he's showing gratitude of that extension of the contract, and he's having fun. I was talking to him. I always play with him. Hey man, you're too big to be first bat. You have to be. No, I don't like to make homers. I like to hit on the forward here, and the other one I like to run. And he's enjoying it. He loves to be the first bat. He's hitting well, and he's have a great defense. And I think right now, Yandy Diaz and Isaac Paredes are the MVP of these teams on hitting.
What about Randy Arozarena? It seems like he's broken out of this slump. He had home run derby, kind of had home run itis, if you will, trying to take everything out. Now it seems like he's in a groove. Do you think that is the biggest key for this team going forward with the Arozarena and his hot bat?
Peter, let me talk to you something. Remember a couple weeks ago that we talked, and I believe that we talked a couple times.
Yeah.
The end when the trade deadline came, and I talked to you. I said the hitting will come back. We just need to have bullpen and starting pitcher. I wasn't concerned a lot of the hitting of the team, and I was right. They have a great start. They have a slump on July, and Randy can talk about it because I interviewed him like a couple days ago for that. But now the hitting is coming back, and every day you have a new player that saved the day, hitting and put the team ahead. And right now, fortunately, Fairbanks is pitching great today. He pitched awesome. He got Shilson strikeout with two great slider, pop to Yandy De La Cruz, and then a line drive to Brandon Lau. So he pitched great. So my only concern of the team was the bullpen and the pitching, and I think when they brought Aaron Civali without knowing Shane McClanahan will be out for until 2025. I think they solidify the starting rotation, and now bringing Kelly back and Adams and Fairbanks and all the other play, I think we have a good team, and so more that the bats are going back hitting.
I love what you're saying here, and I agree with you on that. Now, the Angels, it looks like a salary dump at the end of the day. They're letting Lucas Giolito go. They're putting him on waivers. Hunter Renfroe.
Ronaldo Lopez.
Yep.
All of them.
Harrison Bader is on. He's killed the Rays this year from the Yankees. Do you think the Rays can get one of these players, or would be interested in one of these players if they can get them on waivers, Lewis?
Could be a lot of teams that on the hunt of playoff, they're gonna take care of the situation and bring couples of those players that the Angels are letting go. You know what? I said that at the beginning. As soon as the team start trading the only 4 best players they had, trying because they beat the Pirates and Detroit. I said that was suicidal because I knew after Detroit series, they have to play Blue Jays, San Francisco, Mariners, Houston, Texas, and they lost all those series. Now you are like giving away these players as a gift to all the teams, and now you don't even have your 4 best prospects that you trade for those players. So what you are trying to do now, how you gonna get Shohei Ohtani to stay in your team when you don't have a team? So like my friend from ESPN, Enrique Rojas, said, they were playing poker in the table and they were bluffing all the teams. And what happened? They have today or yesterday take the cards off and they lost.
You know who'd look good in the Tampa Bay Ray uniform? Chicago just recently cut him. Is Clevenger. Clevenger is having a very quietly good season. He still throws upper 90s, has a nasty breaking ball, and keeps people, completely off balance. And he's made it known that he wants to return to the White Sox, but I don't think they have interest in it. Someone's going to pick him up. Of all the pitchers that we just talked about, and believe me, I was a huge Lucas Giolito fan. But Clevenger is having a really good season, even though he's only 5-5. I mean, the guy's got nasty control.
You're absolutely,
and I agree with you, Harry. But also, Clevenger can help. Maybe he can start, and also he can put it in the bullpen.
No, he can actually do both. But right now, that would be it. That would be a solid number 3 or even a number 4 right now in Tampa. Believe it or not, but you can, especially if the season was to end and you did have a Clevenger, you could actually put him into your bullpen, and then when you make it to the next round, you put him into your starting 3.
I agree. I don't think as a 3 because I don't think as a 3 because I have Aaron Civali, Zach Eflin, and Tyler Glasnow as a 1, 2, 3. Maybe as a 4 because I think he's better than Little, but Glasnow, Eflin, and Civali, that's my 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, if we can catch the Baltimore Orioles and we have the wild card off and we go directly to the division, we're fine. But if I need to have 3 starters playing in a division series against the Houston Astros or the Texas Rangers, my 3 guys will be Civali, Eflin, and Glasnow.
I agree.
Tell you what, it's going to be hard to catch this Baltimore team.
Well,
nobody talked about them in the beginning part of the year. Tampa's playing really good baseball. Again, when you get hot, you got to level out. Then you have your downswing. This Baltimore team has just been like this all year long. All year long.
Yeah,
well,
it's just been consistent. It's going to be very difficult to catch this team.
It won't be that difficult because they will match up September 14th through 17th. So that may be for the division. I'll ask you this.
That will be a away game from the Rays. Yes, they play at Baltimore.
That's going to be the test. They're not a great road team, but lately they've been winning series 2 out of 3. And for me, I feel like you got to sweep that series in order to win that division. I still feel like, Lewis, it does come down to the last day of the season. With that being said, last question, and we'll get you out of here. You've been killing it tonight. Thanks a lot for coming on.
He's awesome. Love this guy.
He is. I mean, he saw a broadcast on I Love St. Pete. We were talking baseball, having a Rays pregame, reached out to me. We've been talking ever since. We've been trying to figure out when we can get him on. And here
I'm in St. Pete right now.
There you go. He's in St. Pete, and he's banging on the table, loves the Rays, loves talking baseball. David Ortiz said this the other day. He feels like the Rays way works during the regular season, but when they get to the postseason, it's not necessarily going to work. Do you subscribe to that thought?
He's not the first one who say that. A lot of people is saying that. I think that a couple of years ago, I might agree with him, but I believe this year the Rays are using, yes, the analytics, but they're using also a little bit of old school, and they're mixing things. I've seen a lot of changes between these 3 years, especially this year with the rule changes that I said before, and how the team is playing and how Cash is moving the players. And it's gonna be about who is injured, who is right, and as Harry said, we're playing great. Hopefully we don't get in a slump at the end of the season.
I agree with you, and this team has been hot, playing great baseball right now. Lewis, thanks a lot for your time here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. Go ahead and promote yourself and your great work.
Oh, no, you can follow me at Lewis Murphy on Instagram, and also every Monday at 5:30, we got a show that airs in Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Mexico, Venezuela, and you can see that show on Wednesday on our YouTube channel. It's MB Sport TV PR every Wednesday at 9 p.m. You will see the same show that's aired in Latin America.
Is it Spanish only, or is it going to be
English? It's in Spanish, but every time, like when I interview Cash, the interview goes in English. I do both. Yeah.
Okay.
If the player speak English, the interview goes in English. If the player speaks Spanish, the interview goes in Spanish.
I tell you what, the next time you're going to be on the Sports Web, and there will be a next time, because we're going to definitely talk about this team going forward. Send me that interview so we can see what you got, what you asked Kevin Cash. Once again, Lewis, thanks a lot for your time here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television, my friend. Don't be a stranger. We'll see you soon, all right?
My pleasure. Thank you for having me, and anytime you need, you reach to me, and I'm here. I'll be here until the season ends.
And also barbecue on Harry. Say it.
Yeah. Hey, Harry. Chicago Bears. Let's do it.
The Bears, baby. The Bears.
Hold on.
September 17th. Here.
I know.
They play here.
Luis, I got a question for you. If you're a Bear, first off, are you from Chicago?
Well, I have family in Chicago. In fact, my kids went to Fenwick High School in Chicago. My daughter's is in Loyola right now, university.
It's a great school, Loyola.
And I love to cover the Cubs. I love Wrigleyville.
Who?
The Cubs.
Oh.
It's because let me tell you something. It's because the baseball, the Wrigleyville. I said at the atmosphere around the ballpark. Hey, I seen 26 MLB ballpark. Not all.
I was just texting my friend Roberto and Ozzie Guillen and everybody else.
To go on your show. Yeah.
No, it's too late. That's it. No more.
Yeah, but I say the atmosphere around the ballpark. Wrigleyville. Remember, I'm a Murphy. I go to Murphy's bleachers.
Oh, that's cool.
Love it. All right. Well,
but at least when you go to the South Side games, it's wonderful, especially this year. You now have to wear bulletproof vests. Did you hear about that?
No, but you know what? When I go to your barbecue, I'm going to use a Bears jersey, so we don't have that problem. I will use a Bears jersey. Yeah.
All right. Just for you guys. Hold on. All right, get out of here on that. Lewis, thanks a lot for your time. We'll talk soon, my friend.
My pleasure, guy. Have a great night. Thank you for having me.
Love it.
Good night.
There, yes. All right. I'll tell you what, let's go out and read these comments really quick as we come back to the two shot, because we have been neglecting the webhead, so we don't want to do that. And we'll get out to Turnbuckle Talk wrestling tonight.
First off, I never neglect the webheads and the Greekites.
You do neglect the webheads and Greek guys. You did.
Hey guys, full disclosure, I don't have control of the board. So if it was me and I was doing it, I'd be pulling up the comments as we're talking. But
No, you
Peter,
wouldn't.
oh no.
No, you wouldn't. You'd be running your fat trap and patting yourself on the back of how right you are all the time. Jay.
Well, at least we understand that.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, the players did mention that now. Tom is fine. So are the cameras and the extra media so they can focus on football and not the circus act. Exactly.
Great point.
Let's see here. Nicholas says White Sox beat the Orioles. Rays won. Absolutely.
Hey, there's another Greek, Kosmidis.
There you go. Kosmidis. All right. Great team win for the Rays. Absolutely correct. Thomas.
Malaka.
Fine. Okay. I got you.
Shut up!
Here you go.
Oh my God! Who the hell cares?
Play that in a long time. Shaq Barrett is back. The pass rush just got a major boost. Absolutely. Go Bucs. Go Bucs.
Let's go!
Let's go, Ben Cornett. Kudos to Sean Tucker for grabbing the number 2 running back spot. I think the dude can be special. I mean, you've seen him. What do you think? I mean, the reason why he's undrafted is because of a medical condition regarding his heart. Do you think he can be special now? Number 2 running back?
He can block, he can catch, and he can run between the tackles. He's special.
He is special. All right. Jordy says on point Rick for Rick Sassone. Jensen got hurt in the preseason. He didn't get hurt in the preseason. He got hurt last training camp, never recovered. Jay says RIP Bob Barker. Absolutely.
This guy sucks.
JTS don't have to be a stud because Yaya is. Mike, again, I remember 20 years ago, the Rams didn't play their starters and went 12-4. Milo says Rick just lost all credibility with Anthony Richardson. Did you answer that question? Richardson, Stroud, or Bryce Young? Who has more wins? Besides
those 3, I'm going to have to say probably CJ Stroud because Houston's an up-and-coming team. But it's not my choice of quarterbacks, but go ahead.
Okay. All right. I'll never play in a fantasy football league with Rick in it. Laugh out loud. His team sounds dangerous. I mean, did you see the 3 wide receivers he had? Goodness gracious. I thought Jonathan Taylor was linked to the Bucs. Eye roll. What do you think of that situation? Jonathan Taylor being put on the PUP list for the first 4 games.
He was linked to the Bucs, the Dolphins, the Jets, the Eagles, the Bears, the Packers, the Vikings, the Broncos, the Seattle Seahawks, the Cardinals. Have I missed anybody?
I mean,
because that's who he was linked to. Because everybody that had a wish list, they wanted him.
He's a franchise running back, and he's just 2 years removed from being an MVP type of candidate. I don't know what Jim Irsay and the Colts are doing because basically you're handicapping your quarterback by taking the quarterback's best friend, and that's a running game. You know that all too well, Harry the Greek. You always preach that. Let's go. Yes, see yourself out of here. How about that?
This guy
I wish we grabbed Will Levis. No. Yes, Harry. Let's go out to Jay. Anyone who puts mayo in his coffee is a guy who isn't afraid to stand in the pocket and hit the deep receiver. See? Thank you, Harry Berg, for calling Peter out on his lack of vegetables in his meals. That is not true.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
You know what? I'm going to say this. I still eat lettuce in my salad. I eat green beans, and I eat spinach. Is that good enough for you guys? Let's go out to Curtis. Curtis, welcome back here on The Evolution as we're almost getting to turnbuckle talk. Yes.
I want Harry to hear this.
Hear it.
Hang on. Let me take a sip of my scotch.
Well, all I'm going to say is...
What are you, Rod Burgundy now?
I don't know what's going on with Jim Irsay, but I want to smoke whatever he's smoking because this guy, man, I don't know.
So do I.
He's lost.
Listen, you know what? He bought Jeff Saturday in last year for what, like 4 games?
Yes.
I'm like, what are you doing?
Right.
Why?
Trying to lose. Well, you're trying to get Anthony Richardson. You're trying to get a quarterback.
He's had Phillip Rivers. He's had Matt Ryan. He ruined Andrew Luck's career. I mean, Jesus, what is up with this guy, man?
Well, he's rather into Free Willies. He's instead
they let Matt Eberflus go.
Yeah, well, that's right. But he would rather pay for Wells than good running backs.
Hey Harry, is he the Jerry Jones of the North?
He's probably worse than Jerry Jones because at least Jones won something.
You know what? I'm gonna tell you something. Jerry Jones is not calling all the shots in Dallas.
Well, no, but I don't know who's calling.
Not anymore. He's not.
with
No,
Trey Lance.
He's not. Well, because I mean, listen, we watched Jerry Jones call the shots after Troy Aikman retired, and they were bad for a lot of years.
Agree.
A lot of years they were really bad.
Completely agree.
So in the Colts, ever since Luck retired, bro, they have just been terrible. I mean, listen, I like Anthony Richardson. I think he's talented. I think he needs to sit on the bench for a year. I think they might as well. I think they should start Gardner Minshew for a year.
Agree.
I'm sorry.
I agree. I completely agree with you. I'm surprised they went with this, because it seems like, teams that do this, you can ruin a quarterback mentally and physically. And
yeah, look what they did to Mitch.
Well, that's it. Money Mitch, your buddy Trubisky there. And Trey Lance.
You know what? I liked Mitch Trubisky. I really did. I thought he just had an attitude where he just didn't care. But but you know what? It wasn't him. I felt like it was Matt Nagy. I really felt like it was them.
Well, it's not Matt. It's Matt Nagy and now playing Bucs defenses every game. I mean, the Bucs defense. They seem like that was his. He loved playing against the Bucs defense.
Of course he did. That wheel route. I mean, I still hunt you guys in that wheel route. It was horrible. I was like, just throw another wheel route. No, it wasn't bad enough. They did it the first time. They knew it was coming the second time and didn't stop it. I'm like, what are they doing?
I don't know what they're doing.
I will tell you this, Harry. I do love DJ Moore for Justin Fields.
I do too, but I gotta tell you, man. They got something pretty special with this other kid. It's on the tip of my tongue. Kid from the University of Cincinnati. You're going to see a lot of him this year.
Yeah.
Which guy from Cincinnati?
University of Cincinnati, wide receiver, Chicago Bears. Picked him up, I think, in the 4th round. My brain's not working, Peter. It's too much scotch. I had 3 sips.
Scotch.
Between him, DJ Moore, and Claypool, they should be all right.
And don't forget Darnell Mooney, and Cole Kmet, and Robert Tonyan, the other tight end.
I heard Mooney wants to be traded.
No, he didn't want to be traded. There was rumors that the Bears were looking to unload on him. To unload him. It's just a bunch of talk. It's just like Jonathan Taylor was supposed to go to 47 different football teams.
Man, listen, you know what? I'm sorry. I know you got to get the term back up to this whole thing about the running backs and being underpaid and stuff. Let me tell you something. I understand that you can get a running back in the 4th round and he can rush for 1,000 yards, but there are some guys out here that are just complete studs, and those guys deserve to be paid.
I agree.
I do not care. Listen, I love Derrick Henry. I love Jonathan Taylor. I really do.
But you know what? I'm glad you brought it up, and I know you got to get the turnbuckle talk. Yes, running backs need to get paid, but they need to be paid on a yearly basis because of the longevity and the expectancy of how long they're going to run for. I don't have a problem paying a running back $10 to $12 million in the course of a year if he's signing a 2-year deal, not a 5-year deal. Sorry,
that's fair assessment.
You know what they should do, Pete? Harry. They should pay them like they used to. Remember how they used to pay some of these 1st round picks used to get this ridiculous money, but 9 times out of 10, when a running back comes out of college, that's his prime. Because we look at, and oh God, I can't believe I'm going to say this. We look at Zeke. Zeke been in the league 9 years. Zeke's not even 30, and he was worn down 4 years ago.
It's the top.
Hey, not that worn out, buddy. Let me tell you something. Wait till you see him this year.
It's the Todd Gurley effect. Everybody is scared of paying a running back long term, and with them getting hurt.
But also, Harry, you have to look at it like this. Anybody can run the ball in New England because Bill Belichick is going to set you up to run the ball decent. It's like, okay, back in the day, Cincinnati let Corey Dillon go, and they thought he was washed up, and he went to New England and he ran wild.
Dillon was a beast too, and you know what? I don't want to talk about Belichick anymore. That man makes $20 million a year. He's $10 million a year more than what he should be paid.
I agree, and I tell you right now, this team may be, and that would be the Patriots, looking to take a step back because there's lots of drama there with Mac Jones, him only being the only quarterback on the roster at this point. So I don't know what to think.
And not only that, listen, you don't have Tom Brady on the roster anymore.
Correct.
Get this kid some talent. We all know Brady and that defense won those Super Bowls because who was Brady throwing the ball to in those early Super Bowls?
My question is, who are the Buccaneers going to have as a quarterback next year? Okay, because they don't have a tendency of signing a quarterback to a second contract, and don't think it's going to change anytime this year. That's just my opinion.
I'll tell you right now, Baker Mayfield balls out like Madden 24 thinks, and the projection is that he's going to have Madden 24, 4,600 yards and 30 touchdowns.
Listen, I'll buy everybody chicken wings. He passes for 4,600 yards. This team is not set up for him to pass for 4,600 yards.
Let me ask you a serious question.
Sure, go for it.
Do you completely have faith? Can you say that you have 100% faith in Baker Mayfield?
Yes, I can, and I'll tell you why. Because it's what Harry has said before and say it again, and I feel like they're going to emphasize the run game, and if you cut down on those decisions. And I believe Baker's matured. That's the one thing you worry about is the decision making with the interceptions and everything else.
I'm gonna throw something out here. I'm gonna throw everybody a curveball.
Jim, hold on a minute. We got Curtis on the line. Stand by. Curtis, go ahead and finish up. Go ahead, Harry.
A team that is not projected to pass for 4,000 yards, I will make a bet to you, Peter, and anybody else that wants to throw it out there. Danny Dimes of the New York Giants will throw for over 4,000 yards this year. Anybody want to take that wager? Anybody?
No, I agree with you. And do you want to
really?
Know? I'm going to tell you why.
I got the Giants winning the East this year.
Well,
I don't know.
Not only that, I'm going to tell you something. He's going to have a lot of in the games that they lose. Mm-hmm. He's going to have what Dak has. He's going to have a lot of garbage yards. Because if you go look at Dak's stats for his career, a lot of his yards are garbage yards. I'm just talking about, man, he's got like 15,000 yards, garbage yards, just garbage. And I'm like, that's a lot of yards. That's really is.
I don't think the Giants are going to win that division this year.
I do, and I'm going to tell you why. That defense is something to really not to mess with, Pete.
That defense is for real over
I think they're pretty good.
Oh, yes, it is. They've picked up receivers. They got tight ends. They got an offensive line. They're starting front four for their defense. I'll put them up against anybody in football. They're scary good this year.
Here's what they don't have. They don't, and I don't care if he got paid. Danny Dimes, I don't buy him.
Listen, I wasn't the biggest supporter, but going back and watching the final 5 games that I did watch, I seen some maturity there, and I also seen a head coach who started playing to his strengths. Okay.
And Harry, can I piggyback off of you, Harry?
Sure, go for it. It's a big piggyback.
Pete, remember when Lamar Jackson won the MVP?
Yes.
It was his legs, Mark Andrews, and the running back. What does Danny Dimes have? He has Waller, and if Waller stays healthy, Waller's a top 5 tight end.
I agree, but Waller stay healthy? That's the big key.
He will this year, Peter.
Can anybody? But if Waller stays healthy,
that's a scary good team this year. No one's talking about.
And Saquon stays healthy, and Danny Dimes stays healthy, and guess what? The most underrated part of Danny Dimes' game is that he can run the damn ball.
Well, he can run the ball, but
but it doesn't matter who he has on the outside. Who was Lamar Jackson's wide receiver when he won the MVP?
I agree. I just don't think Jones is in that conversation with Lamar Jackson. I just don't.
No, he's not. But it's also about the talent around him and the type of scheme that they run for him. I don't expect. Nobody expects Danny Dimes to go out there and pass for 4,500 yards.
No, they don't. That's the whole thing.
They're paying him like it, though.
But that running game is going to be special. Let me tell you something. Saquon Barkley will run for 1,000 this year and catch for 600. It's going to be something. I'm telling you, this Giant team, people are sleeping on them. And I'm not a Giant fan. Let me be the first one to tell you.
Yeah, absolutely. Me neither. If they scheme correctly and this defense gets turnovers like we know that they can, that team actually is going to be scary. And that's why I asked y'all earlier, how many teams do you see winning, coming out the NFC East? Because I'm going to tell you something. I don't see Dallas coming out the NFC East, because I'm going to tell you something. We've seen too many times Dallas always gets hyped up and then they choke. And I don't believe in Mike McCarthy at all.
Well, I don't believe in him either, but I think the Philadelphia Eagles are head and shoulders better than the Giants and the Cowboys.
Philadelphia was also healthy last year. You remember what happened to Tampa when they were the healthiest team in football? What happened the following 2 years? Anybody want to say that, Peter?
I agree, but here's the thing. Philadelphia waxed the Giants in the playoff game, and they got better on both sides of the ball.
I understand that. I've seen a lot of teams get waxed, and then they come back the following year with a chip on their shoulder, and that's one of the underlying factors why I think New York is going to be a team that you have to contend with. That's my sleeper team in the NFC.
And listen, we've seen. I'm gonna tell you.
And they may go to sleep. Who knows? But I'm just telling you, that's the sleeper team.
What we've seen in Dallas before was Wade Phillips was the coach. Jason Garrett was the OC.
Oh, I remember that.
Everybody knew Jason Garrett was going to get that job eventually. Well, guess what? Mike McCarthy is the coach right now. But everybody loves Dan Quinn. That's Dan Quinn's job.
Yeah.
They're just waiting for Mike McCarthy to throw it away like they know he's going to do, and he's going to be out of there, and Dan Quinn is going to be the next coach of the Dallas Cowboys.
He probably is, but it's not going to matter because the Eagles are going to win that division easily. Well, thanks a lot, Curtis, for the call. Appreciate you, my friend, as always, bringing here.
Take it easy, Curtis, man. Have a really good night.
Finally,
you got someone with sense.
What? Let's go out to
someone with some sense.
Whatever. Jim, welcome to the evolution of sports talk television. You're on with yours truly, along with Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire. Go ahead.
Hey, what up, guys?
What's going on, man?
Hey, I need to know what we gonna do. Tampa's gonna do this year, man. Seems like we got a team.
What do you think they're gonna do? That's your question. What do you think they're gonna do?
You asked me. I think we're gonna win the division at least.
Okay,
I agree.
Go from there, get to the playoffs.
All right.
Yeah.
And how many wins do you think they have this year, Jim?
What I say, about 13, 14.
Wow, he's saying 13, 14. So he's agreeing with Tristan Wirfs on the over there. Tristan Wirfs says 12-5. All right. Good stuff. Why do you think they're going to be 13, 14 win season?
The squad, man, I like how it's going.
Okay.
We got a couple running backs, right?
Yep. Rashard White, Sean Tucker, Chase Edmond. Stop drinking, Harry. Shut up.
Don't tell me to shut up. I'm allowed to drink.
Shut up. Be quiet.
Last time I checked my driver's license said I'm over 21.
Okay. Well, you need to drink at this point. We all need a drink to listen to you talk about the Giants tonight.
I'm sorry. At least I'm not jumping up and down going everything else. Give me a break.
I mean, Philadelphia, to me, is the best team in that division. I'm sorry to say. Okay. They've gotten better.
How? They've lost people.
Who did they lose?
Peter, I'm not going to get into this debate with you today, buddy. It's your show. I agree with you. You're right. Philadelphia's the best team. They're going to win the next 5 Super Bowls.
Wait a minute. Who said that? Why? What would you say that for?
They're going to win. They're going to win the division 5 years in a row.
Wait a minute, Jim. Thanks a lot for the call. Appreciate you, boss. Go ahead. No, you said they lost something. What did they lose that is monumental?
Peter, I've got everything written down. It's in the other room. They have not gotten any better, and they're not going to be as healthy. There are things I'm also seeing that they're just, listen, man, they're not going to sustain that. Just, you want another team for the same way, Peter, so everybody can pile on me a little bit more? I got them in the same area as I got the Buffalo Bills in.
Yeah, and you've always said Buffalo is not going to be good, and they still make the playoffs, and Joshua Allen still does well.
But hold on. But who led the league in turnovers?
Right, you're exactly right, but it still didn't matter because they still made.
And now you've got 2 other football teams in the East that have gotten better. Who are they, Peter? The New York Jets and the Miami Dolphins. So when you start making mistakes like that, good luck on getting 500.
That may be true, but you just said that Philadelphia has had losses. Mike, hold on a minute. We'll go out to you in a moment, okay, with the call. You just said that Philadelphia had losses. What did they lose besides their coordinators?
Peter, you want to pull me off the air for a minute and I'll go get my book so I can go through it?
Yeah, go ahead. Get your book.
Because I really don't feel like it, to be honest with you. They're just not as good as they were last year. But
Okay.
you know what? It's just like you and the general public and everybody else that's out there. If they do well, that was great. They expected it. That's why their win total is so high. That's why I can turn around and take teams that are scheduled to make 5 wins and some of them say 4 wins and say, you know what, bet the under. But sometimes I turn around and tell them to bet the over. You haven't heard me stand on a soapbox and say, bet the Giants over. You haven't heard me say, bet Philadelphia over. I am the guy that takes the not so sexy pick. The New York Giants are not a sexy pick at all.
I think they're a sexy pick because I think a lot of people are getting out.
Let's also go back to Houston last year when you said I was smoking crack and said Houston couldn't possibly stay in a game like that. What did they do? And they took other teams to the wire, Kansas City and all these other high-powered teams that said what they were doing.
Stay in a game, but Houston was not a good team last year. You're acting like the Philadelphia Eagles or the Houston Texans. Don't come on this show and say it's your show. I'm not going to debate with you. Because I never told you couldn't say what you want to say. If you want to say,
I already did. I already gave you my opinion. It ain't good enough for you.
Oh, no, I didn't say that at all. You gave your opinion. Everybody has an opinion, but don't do passive-aggressive nonsense here and say you didn't have an opportunity to say what you want to say.
Passive-aggressive.
Passive-aggressive. Oh, this is your show. You can
stop it,
please. Do whatever you want to. Hold off with the calls. No calls right now. I don't want to take any calls. I want to know what losses the Philadelphia Eagles had.
They've lost a wide receiver. Let me go off the top of my head. They've lost 2 defensive linemen. I don't even know if Fletcher Cox is playing. The team does not have it. They got very lucky in 4 games. I can go through all my notes from last year. They got really hot at the end of the year. They remind me of a team that's going to be a one and done. Those are my reasons, and that's it.
They got Jalen Hurts, who just signed a contract extension. You got A.J. Brown. You got Devontae Smith. They just added to the running back situation with DeAndre Swift there at running back. So they already got better there. And then you add Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith from Georgia.
By the way, you're saying they never should have took. He's going to be overrated.
I didn't like him as his character. But
the word bust.
But
his pro day was horrible.
I agree. But he's on a Philadelphia Eagle team that has the veteran presence that can keep him in line. There's no denying his talent, and everything he's done in the preseason has made that defensive line better. Let's not sit here and act like Philadelphia is not the top of the league in the NFC.
They're not.
I think they are.
Okay.
I definitely think they're the team to beat with Jalen Hurts and all those weapons, and then the defense. The only thing I see Philadelphia, which kind of worries me, is losing.
Bet the over. Bet the over.
It's not about betting the over. You're just trying to sit here and tell me.
I didn't say anything other than that the Philadelphia Eagles, I do not believe, are going to win that division this year. That division got a lot better, including the Dallas Cowboys, who everybody thinks is in complete turmoil. I think they made a brilliant move by going out and giving up a 4th-round pick for Trey Lance, even though they spent all that money for a quarterback. That was the smartest thing they could have did. They now have 2 quarterbacks in that roster. That young man shouldn't play this year. They need to develop him a little bit more and get that knee healthy. There was a reason why he was taken so high. There was a reason why John Lynch went out there and gave up all that draft capital. It wasn't because it was a miss. I don't remember the last time the 49ers missed on a player like Trey Lance. He still has ball in him. And I can also remember the same pundits that are out there that are saying that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers wouldn't win more than 3 games. These are the same people that believe all the hypes from teams. They're not as good as what they are. They are scary on paper. They also get fat from eating too much Campbell's chunky soup. And I think you know exactly what I'm talking about, Peter.
Well, I definitely know what you're talking about. But again, for me, I still think Philadelphia is head and shoulders better. I don't necessarily like the move of Trey Lance for a 4th-round pick. I understand it. He's never done anything in this league. And then on top of it, you piss your franchise quarterback off. So you're trying to piss your locker room off. That makes no sense. Lance has never shown anything. And Curtis is right. The Cowboys and, Two Giant Goopball says Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Okay, that's a loss.
Oh, that's one of them. That's a hell of a loss for them on the secondary. Who did they replace him with?
That's a loss. I'm not saying it's not a loss, but it is a loss. It's not a monumental loss where they lost all these players that you're talking about. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is one. Who else? What else? Miles Sanders?
I think I got another running back.
You replaced him with DeAndre Swift. So DeAndre Swift to me is an upgrade over a Miles Sanders.
I will have to say yes, he is.
Okay. All right. Hargrave? Okay, fine. You got Jalen Carter. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, you guys are saying, well, they lost all these players. Okay.
Not you guys, it's me.
Well, it's also...
I don't have anybody fight my battles.
It's also
Let me be very clear about that.
It's also him. And I know you're two giant goofballs. You're a Giants fan. I get that. But I'm sorry. I can't look at Danny Dimes, even though he got a contract extension, and say, hey, here's a guy who threw 15 touchdowns total last year, and say, man, he's a top quarterback. I don't care how many weapons you put.
This particular head coach in this year will make a significant difference on the way that offense plays. Look what he did with Josh Allen. That's all I'm going to say.
Let's see. Jalen Carter says is as good as Hargrave. Are you kidding me? Could be actually better. Could be a major upgrade over Hargrave. I mean, again, that's the reason why they get a guy like that in the draft. So he may be a bust with his character, but I think the Eagles can keep him alive. All right. We got all these comments here I got to read. Yes, we're doing Turnbuckle Talk. Ralph, stand by. Harry, go ahead and promote
yourself. Hi, Ralph.
Go ahead, Harry.
Hi, I'm Harry the Grrek. Have a good night, everybody. Take care, and thanks for having me on, Pete.
All right. Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate you, as always. Good stuff there. Let me go out to a commercial break, and when we come back, we'll do Turnbuckle Talk here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. Are you an athlete or professional struggling with life or career transition? Life isn't always easy, but hope is always present. Best Hope Counseling will help you move forward. For nearly a decade, licensed marriage and family therapist Larry Baumgartner has helped clients empower change and discover solutions using a solution-focused therapy approach. Conversations will focus on what you desire to change, not just the problems that brought you into counseling. From anger to depression or other emotions, Best Hope Counseling is there for you. Contact Larry personally on his direct line at 727-946-1346. Again, 727-946-1346 for a telehealth appointment in Florida and Minnesota, or in person an appointment in Minnesota. Take time out and begin your game plan to reconnect, rebuild, and restore happiness in your life. BestHopeCounseling.com. All right, welcome back to the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. It's Turnbuckle Talk. Let's go out to it. Are you ready to go, Ralph?
I am. I've been ready.
Okay, good. Let's go. What do you want to talk about, my friend, on Turnbuckle Talk?
Let's talk about Bray Wyatt, the death of Bray Wyatt, 36 years old. And then Terry Funk, he passed as well. And this big mess in AEW. I'm hearing stories now that CM Punk wants to step away from AEW because of the fight with Jack Perry. We have a lot to talk about tonight, Peter.
We definitely have a lot to talk about, and you're exactly right. Let's start there with Bray Wyatt. The details of this have come out. The Eater of Worlds, 36-year-old Wyndham Rotunda, a new report from TMZ has revealed that Bray Wyatt was hospitalized just a week before his passing due to heart issues that surfaced after a bout with COVID-19 in March of this year. According to the report, the sickness resulted in Wyatt developing a weak lower part of his heart, possibly explaining why he was pulled for WrestleMania 39. Following his hospitalization and on the morning of his death, Wyatt attended a follow-up appointment with doctors who advised him to continue wearing an external defibrillator. The device is meant to treat people who are susceptible to sudden cardiac arrest and was found in his car the day of his passing. Bray Wyatt's longtime girlfriend, former WWE in-ring announcer JoJo Offerman, reportedly noticed something was wrong when the superstar lay down for a nap but didn't respond to his alarm an hour later. She allegedly walked in to check on him, noticed he was turning blue. Offerman called 911 while her mother attempted to perform CPR. Wyatt, as we know, ultimately passed away from a heart attack in his sleep at 36 years old. Your thoughts on Bray Wyatt, the wrestler and the man?
Well, Bray Wyatt was, a good showman. I mean, he knew how to put on a show, with his wrestling skills, with the Eater of Worlds thing, the Fun House, and then he had his group, the Wyatt family, which everyone kept saying was going to get back together. There were all kinds of rumors, Peter, about how he was going to do this, he was coming back to do that, and then his influence on Alexa Bliss. From what I understand from some of the reports I read, he had a big influence on a lot of wrestlers in the WWE, which kind of surprised me based on his character.
He did, and he was very creative mind. I think, the WWE, I think there's a lot of fans out there that felt like they dropped the ball with him. Of course, they were about to bring him back, and unfortunately, it didn't happen. He got COVID, had underlying heart condition. We don't know all the details, but that's the latest here. Now, when talking about Bray Wyatt, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, his desire was to put over Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania 32. Even when we worked together at WrestleMania 32 with The Rock, we wanted to. I know taking to The Rock, it was like the guy Bray Wyatt, he doesn't have a match. This is a promo we should be doing. That's basically what we discussed with each other, says Brian Gerwitz of Fightful. Rock wanted to work with him. I wanted Rock to work with him. Bray obviously would be more than happy to do a segment with The Rock, but even when we put that segment together, it was like, all right, Bray, you'll say stuff. I'll just let you do it because I'm certainly not writing anything for Bray Wyatt. Here's the outline. Whatever you say, Rock will respond to it. That's sort of not necessarily a given with a lot of performers. A lot of performers can and do write their own promos, but Bray, from the start, from his incarnation of Bray Wyatt character, it was all him putting forward the character, the mood, the atmosphere. He really just is remarkable. He also says the other thing I would add is that in putting that promo together, the one key in that promo that we wanted to do above everything else is Rock putting Bray over. Usually there's a dynamic where the heel comes out and maybe there's a line, some lip service or whatever. Or, yeah, you're a great athlete, but blah, 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 typically with a heel and a baby face. But in the particular case, we have the spotlight on us. The world of wrestling is watching. This is a good opportunity for The Rock to really put over the dynamic personality, the magnetic presence, the fact that he's supposedly a heel. 101,000 people are holding up their cell phones. Of course, the Fireflies. Your thoughts on those comments?
Yeah, it was, just an inspiration for wrestlers, and a lot of people followed him like the Fireflies. And Bray Wyatt he's going to be sorely missed. But the interesting part about it was WWE kind of lied a little bit, or there was some rumors out there. He was supposed to be coming back real soon. I don't know how it went from him having this heart problem to going back in the next, month or so. They had plans to bring him back, and he was ready to go. And I guess things took a turn for the worse, maybe. I don't know. But it's been long and hard with some of these wrestlers that have been hurt. Look at Randy Orton. He still isn't back yet. They're talking about having him back as a manager. And then they have, I was told Big E now can't come back at all. He's completely done with wrestling because of that neck injury he has. And, we'll see what goes on down the road. NWA, Tyrus just retired. So, I guess it's beating up some of their bodies and things like that. And here's where we are. I didn't expect Bray Wyatt at 36 years old, though, Peter. Usually around 50, 60 years old, they start passing away. Some guys have passed away at earlier ages than that because of the steroids and whatever they were doing.
Yeah, and a lot of people assume that when that story came out that it was steroids or painkillers or some type of medical condition, but it wasn't that. It was COVID, and he had an underlying heart problem, and unfortunately, and it's eerily similar to. And I tell you what, let's go out to Curtis here on Turnbuckle Talk. Welcome. You're on with yours truly, along with the bodyguard of the Berg, Mr. Ralph Williams, Pittsburgh's newest radio personality. What do you have to say about Bray Wyatt?
How you doing, Ralph?
Hey, good, Curtis. How are you?
I'm doing great. Very sad. I was a huge Bray Wyatt fan.
Mm-hmm.
Huge. The guy could rock the mic. That's all, number one.
Absolutely.
He could rock the mic. He could also wrestle in that ring. And it's just, I'm going to tell you something. The very last time I saw Bray Wyatt, which was, I think, was a Friday night SmackDown, he looked very weak. He looked very tired.
Mm.
And he reminded me of the time that the Ultimate Warrior came out and talked on Monday Night Raw the day before he died. That's how he looked to me. And then when I got the news, I was at work when I got the news that Bray Wyatt died, and I'm like, this is crazy. Like, this just happened. Like, dude, I love Bray Wyatt. Like, I thought he was going to take over for the Undertaker. That's what I thought.
I felt like they dropped the ball with that, but you could see there was some type of passing of the torch moment on a Raw where it's Bray Wyatt and LA Knight, who's now become a megastar for them, is definitely over with the crowd. The Undertaker comes in, whispers something to Bray, and you see that interaction. You're like, damn, this is kind of cool. This is kind of the passing of the torch. And I still feel like Bray should have went over on The Undertaker. I mean, if you're trying to get this guy over, you put him over on John Cena. You put him over on The Undertaker if you're really trying to get him into that whole situation of him being over.
The time when him and Randy Orton had the little feud,
right?
I thought that was going to be the time that he would have been over then,
right? But, and you put Roman Reigns over on him. You put Goldberg on. I mean, you ruined that character.
Yeah.
That you had a great character, great creative character, and you put other guys over on top of him. I just don't understand it. Never did.
And listen, rest in peace, Bray Wyatt. We'll miss you. I will definitely miss your charisma, your character, and what you brought to wrestling. We will never have another Bray Wyatt.
Right.
But Terry Funk,
yes,
that hurt my heart. That hurt my
heart. The
Funker,
yes.
And Terry Funk was the first guy I've ever seen when I was a kid. I was probably 8, 9 years old the first time I saw Terry Funk.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy was a guy that did not care what happened in the ring. He just wanted to put on a great show. And, when I was a kid and seeing people bleed in the ring and getting bashed with chairs and stuff, and to me, that was the most exciting thing I'd ever seen in my life. And it was Terry Funk. I forgot who he was fighting.
Yeah,
but he was the guy that had me, one of the guys that had me into wrestling, because I'm an extreme guy. I like to see crazy stuff that you don't see in everyday's world, and Terry Funk bought that for us, and I loved it. And all the battles he's had with Ric Flair and all these other guys. I mean, how could you not love Terry Funk?
Well, he's also in Roadhouse. I seen that the other night, and you're exactly right. He was Extreme Legend, of course. Him and Cactus.
He was in Over the Top too, Peter.
He was.
Be Over the Top with Stallone. He was there. He played a bodyguard or something. He was in that.
And I'm going to tell you something. I don't know if you guys remember when Dean Ambrose fought Brock Lesnar in an Extreme Rules match or something a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And Dean came to the ring with a shopping cart full of everything.
Right.
He reminded me of Terry Funk, because Dean Ambrose had that I don't care attitude. What happens to me in the ring, I'm going out here to put on the best show that I can put on.
Mm-hmm.
And he reminded me of Terry Funk. And my
two best wrestlers in hardcore, Terry Funk and Mick Foley. Two best.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I think Tommy Dreamer's in there too.
Oh, right? Tommy Dreamer, yes, Sandman, other guys. Yeah,
I was a huge Sabu guy. I used to love Sabu.
Yeah,
ECW.
Sabu is a guy that got over, but injuries and body fell apart before he could.
Hey man, listen, Sabu was another I don't care guy.
Yep.
That guy did anything in the ring. It did not matter to him, and Mick Foley and those guys didn't care. Their bodies were beat up. And I just seen a little documentary on Mick Foley, not to change the subject, but Mick Foley never worked out, never did anything. This guy would get up every day and he'd go to work, and it did not matter to him. It did not matter to Mick. And some of these guys can never be what those guys were.
I agree. I completely agree. Ever. Good stuff, Curtis. Appreciate the call as always, my friend. Good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Good stuff there. Open phone lines if you want to call up and talk about wrestling right now. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. The other number, 727-40.
Peter, real quick.
Let me go ahead and give out the phone number. Ralph, let me give out the phone number.
Go ahead.
227-409-7528. Now you can go.
Yeah, first of all, I want to know how your back is doing. And secondly, how are you handling the hurricane?
So.
Hurricane is good. We didn't really get hit badly. I mean, there were some people around here that flooded out. We didn't have any of those effects, thank God. But there were some people that did get flooded out, and my back is my back at this point. It's a little bit sore. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. My wife is laid up with her back now.
That stinks. All right. So open phone lines if you want to talk turnbuckle talk here. Let's see. WWE could be bringing back a former tag team in the Authors of Pain. Cam and Razor were released in 2020. Now they could be coming back, according to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful. Select reported that months after it was reported earlier this year that they have been in talk of a tag team returning. Sources told the media outlet that the AOP have actually been under contract with WWE since 2022, though we haven't confirmed as much. So AOP coming back. Well, by the way, Paul Ellering, who was famous for what? Being the manager of who?
The Road Warriors.
Yes, sir.
Legion of Doom.
Yes, and he was supposedly negotiating for Authors of Pain to get them back in there, and they are very loyal to him. So what do we think? Can they come back to WWE and solidify, be a good tag team, which they really never lived up to that potential in WWE, in my opinion?
No, WWE, Peter's getting desperate right now. They don't care about the tag team division. If they did, they would give Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens their new belts, okay? The tag team division has been up and down now for the last 2 years, at least. And it's been really horrible, and we see the same matches all the time, same people, same this, same that. Maybe AOP this time can do something. This is their third stint coming back. So we're going to find out what happens. Last time, one of them got hurt, had a knee injury or something, and the other one was trying to wrestle by himself. It didn't work out. The creative has to find something for these people. These guys like the AOPs of the world and some of these other tag teams that are what they call the forgotten people. Like I used to call myself the forgotten son in this town. But it seems like they're forgotten and and I blame creative for that because they should find something for them and they don't.
All right, let's go out to James Flash Ludeman, AOP. Absolutely. Let's see here. Philly wins the division, but Giants. Chalk. What do you think about Philly and the Giants? I think Philly's gotten better. Just my opinion.
Well, Philly's gotten better, Peter, but here's something you have to look at. Nick Sirianni lost 2 coordinators and one at the same time, and they're both head coaches.
Yep.
Does he have these new coordinators? Are they going to be able to bring back this winning that Philly did last year? And they lost a lot of guys. We have 2 of their guys on our team, Salamalu, and we have Nate Herbig, 2 good offensive linemen that they lost. Steelers signed them, so and they lost Javon Hargraves too. So on the defensive side of the ball, so I think they've had some losses. I think Philly might make it into a wild card. The NFC is not that great this year, Peter. They don't. It's you could probably get away with 9 and 8 and get in the playoffs again.
Yeah, and I don't see them getting a wild card. I see them winning that division straight out. I think the Giants are improved. I get it, and then also Dallas and who knows about the Commanders, but I just think Philly is one of the top teams.
Well, we're going to find out. We're going to find out, Peter, what Nick Sirianni is all about because now his coordinators are gone. So we're going to see.
I think you found out what he was all about last year. Nobody knew that this guy was going to do what he did, and you kind of found out that he is the real deal. Coordinators are not, but it's an interesting point. Let's go out to AEW. CM Punk and Jack Perry have both been suspended for an altercation before the start of All In pay-per-view. The incident remains under investigation by AEW. I don't know what the investigation is. Jack Perry should be suspended. It's not. This is not CM Punk's fault. This is Jack Perry. It began on Sunday during the All In pre-show in the middle of Perry's match against Hook. There was a spot that involved a car window. Perry looked in the camera and said it was real glass. It was real glass. Cry me a river. That comment appeared to be pointed directly at Punk, who objected to Perry's desire to use real glass on a recent episode of Collision. On Sunday, when Perry returned backstage after the pre-show match, he exchanged words with Punk. Though there are multiple accounts of what actually took place, eyewitnesses have confirmed there was physicality between Punk and Perry. It's important to note that as the commotion unfolded, AEW was mere moments away from the most significant pay-per-view in company history. What do we think of this whole situation? Because I don't necessarily think this is Punk's fault, although once again, it does take the perspective, or it takes the attention off of, being at Wembley, getting the crowd that you have, having a successful pay-per-view. Once again, you're talking about, an off incident here from the ring with Jack Perry and, of course, CM Punk. And I agree with CM Punk on this. This is just Perry trying to make a name for himself. And, of course, Punk is not going to take it because he's a veteran in that locker room. Who's right on this? And, by the way, who would you take in a fight? Punk or Jack Perry, by the way, Luke's son?
Punk by a long shot. I'm not a big Jack Perry fan. I didn't like how he turned heel, acting like a crybaby, moaning and groaning because he didn't make it. That's his own fault. I mean, you're in charge of your own destiny. And, I don't blame AEW for this. I don't blame CM Punk for this fight. And if CM Punk does quit, something, Tony Khan and AEW are up a creek, because I'm going to tell you what, no pun intended, Donner. I mean, up a creek, because, this is ridiculous. This is twice that Punk, but this time he didn't cause it. Has been involved in a fight. And I think Tony Khan is doing this wrong.
All right, let me go out to James here. James, you just called. I think you just called. James, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, welcome to Turnbuckle Talk. You're on with yours truly, along with the bodyguard of the Berg, Mr. Ralph Williams. What do you have to say about the Punk situation?
Yeah, my issue isn't so much with Punk in this scenario, but the issue stems more of, this is now twice where CM Punk's name has been directly involved in an incident backstage.
True.
Now, I can't fault him for what was done with Jack Perry. But listen, you fool me once, shame on me, right? Fool me twice, shame on you. Mm-hmm. And this is the biggest draw that you've ever had. It's not a WrestleMania, and I thought Eric Bischoff hit that right on the head. It was not WrestleMania, but as what it is, as All In, and as the company has grown over the last several years, this was the WrestleMania for them. So why on earth you would take the attention away from that just baffles me. This is not a good look for CM Punk. It's definitely not a good look for Jack Perry. I know Tony Khan has a press conference scheduled for tomorrow. I'm assuming this will be one of the topics, if not the topic, to discuss. But, it's kind of hard to figure out, like, who's really at fault. Do you go with the guy who's now caused another incident after a major pay-per-view and CM Punk, but you're not going to suspend him because their next event, All Out, is going to be in Chicago, so you're not going to suspend him because he's a draw in that city. So do you make an example of Jack Perry, who's this young up-and-coming wrestler who's trying to get over but not doing a very good job, by the way?
No.
Right. So it's I guess it's kind of like the Triple H Madison Square Garden punishment. Like, all four of those guys came out. You couldn't punish Shawn. He was the champion. Kevin Nash, Scott Hall on their way out to WCW.
Very good point.
So Triple H's got to be the fall guy. So maybe in this scenario, Jack Perry's the fall guy, and maybe he's better for it.
Well, maybe he is, and maybe it's a storyline. Maybe it's just to sell tickets again. Maybe it's just all the work. But you're exactly right. Once again, it's another incident with CM Punk. But CM Punk sells so much. He draws. He gets over with the crowd, even though the crowd was split with him and Samoa Joe, which is a very good match once again. I don't know. I think this is Jack Perry. This is Jack Perry's fault more than Punk's, and I would suspend him. But you're exactly right. They're not going to suspend Punk for long, because if they are, you basically are shooting yourself in the foot, especially if you're in Chicago, because you know that they're going to draw. They're going to draw money there. They're going to make money there. They're going to sell tickets because of Punk. So to answer your question, yeah, I think Jack Perry is the guy that's going to take the brunt of this. What do you say, Ralph?
Yeah, exactly. I believe it's also Peter and James. I think that Jack Perry's going to get the brunt of this. They just brought CM Punk back. And, Tony Khan doesn't want to have egg on his face. So obviously he's going to have to do something here. And I think Jack Perry's going to get the suspension. And I think if Punk does get one, it might be after this all in, all out, all up and down, or whatever it is they're doing here is done before they issue him a suspension. And I'm hoping that if they do, it's a small one, if they even give him a suspension. And I hope they don't, because if he wasn't the instigator of this, I don't think that that he should get a suspension. He just came back. His momentum's coming back up. The fans are back. So here we are. Tony Khan's got a moneymaker here, and I don't think, Tony Khan, I don't think he needs to have egg on his face again. I'm sorry to say that again.
Well, and I tell you right now, I think, and you would have to agree with this, James, that, once again, Punk does sell, and Jack Perry hasn't sold yet, and he's maybe an upcoming superstar, remains to be seen, but Punk is your bread and butter, and that's what you have to go with. And I also think Punk in this case was trying to look out for not only himself, but other wrestlers in that locker room when it comes to using real glass. And if you're going to do that, you do it in a pay-per-view situation. I don't even know if you do it at all because there are so many safety concerns. What do you think, James?
It's interesting to me that, and you're right. I mean, there are obvious safety concerns with that type of stuff. I remember years ago, Kurt Angle and Shane McMahon had one of the greatest street fights I've ever watched in my life.
Yep.
And it was the belly to back suplex that was supposed to be through sugar glass. It was not sugar glass, and both of those guys were during the entire sequence, it was very uncomfortable. So you can look at a scenario like that, but that's where the company, I think, has to step in and say, listen, this is the safety concern, this is what we're going to do. And that apparently did not happen. So at what point, if you're Tony Khan, do you say, someone needs to take a stand here? Now, I don't look at Punk as a leader in the locker room. I'm sorry, I don't. He's a draw. He's a superstar. He's talented. I give him that on the mic. He's one of the best to ever do it, in my opinion, on the microphone, besides MJF and maybe The Rock.
Sure.
And there are others. But when I look at a locker room leader, I look at a guy like Taker, right? Taker was a locker room leader. Sure. That's a guy you go to. He leads the way. He's going to tell you how it is, but he's going to tell you how to do it in a way that's going to be beneficial for the company. He's a company guy, right? Yeah. I don't see Punk in that role whatsoever. So why on earth Punk is even wasting his time trying to do that? If you're a locker room leader, you don't get into altercations, not once, but twice. Like, when have you heard of WWE? And granted, you hear stories like long after wrestlers have retired,
right?
Like Kurt Angle and Eddie Guerrero getting into like almost a fist fight, right? You hear about that stuff long after. You don't do it the night of a major event. Like, it makes no sense.
It doesn't make any sense at all. But I think Punk has tried to be a leader, and he said that, and he's been surprised that he hasn't been embraced. And I understand it because to that locker room, he's looking like an outsider right now, and they are just basically throwing him to the side and not treating him as if he's a leader. But he is. He's done it. He's been the best in the world. He's fought those matches. He's been over with the crowd. He's still over with the crowd. He's still making money for that company, would make money for...
Remember, Peter, they put him in his own show, and they only put people who could get along with him on that show. So remember that. Like James said, he's not a locker room leader. Because think about it, they made Collision for him. And the reason they made it for CM Punk was because a lot of people in that locker room could not get along with him. So they gave him his own show.
Well, they did give him his own show, but the reason why they gave him his own show is why? Because they can sell. He can sell. People will always criticize Hulk Hogan for years. But the reason why Hogan had
Hulk Hogan sold.
Yeah, but so does CM Punk. And Punk sells. He creates the ratings, and that's what Hogan always said. You could say how old I am, but I could still sell out. I could still sell out auditoriums and arenas and stuff like that. And these guys can't. So I don't quite understand why this locker room wouldn't embrace a CM Punk who has sold out arenas, who has been over in the business, instead of guys that have never done it before. You would want to pick this man's brain. And I understand it. And I think it goes back to structure, right? WWE right now has a great structure. They know who's the boss. It's either Vince McMahon, Triple H. Nobody else entertains any other thought. With this company, it's Tony Khan. And Tony Khan lets basically.
Well, he doesn't know anything about wrestling, Peter. He's just a guy that's rich that loves wrestling.
Well,
okay, and that's all it is. But he has there's no structure there because he doesn't know how to do the structure. That's what it's all about.
There is no structure because he's allowing some of this stuff to go on. It goes back to James.
Right.
James, anything else here on Turnbuckle Talk?
Yeah, I agree with you in the sense that, yes, CM Punk is a draw, 100%. You can't disagree with that point. The difference is, I never you never looked at Hulk Hogan as a locker room leader either. I mean, it would depend on your definition of what a locker room leader truly is.
True.
I don't look at Hulk Hogan as a locker room leader. Hulk Hogan was a once-in-a-lifetime talent that took a company in the 80s to levels it never thought possible. And that was all Hulk Hogan. Some of that was Vince McMahon, but it was all Hulk Hogan doing what he did better than anyone else. He reinvents himself with the NWO, does the same thing again for WCW. They were number one for 83 straight weeks.
83 weeks.
And I mean, and that to me, I don't see a CM Punk that right now that I can jump on the bandwagon with for two separate instances, and now you're giving this man his own show. I don't see that. I don't see it in that way. Yes, is he a cash cow? 100%.
But
ride the wave while you still can. But as a leader, I that's not a CM Punk that I'm seeing in that position. And to be honest with you, I don't know who that person is at AEW, and that's part of the problem. There's no structure at all, to your point. And I think that's part of the issue, and hopefully that's something that does eventually get worked out. Because here's the thing, and this is the whole point of this, is that the wrestling business is better with two companies than it is with one, and we've already seen it happen, right? I mean, Cody Rhodes goes to AEW, starts AEW, does really well, jumps back to WWE, bam, instant star. Could have easily beat Roman. It just wasn't in the cards. It's not a part of the plan for that, but I mean, it can happen. We're going to see it happen probably over the next several years where there'll be top AEW guys. They'll jump to WWE. We've already seen WWE guys jump to AEW. And that was when wrestling was at its best, is that you just never knew who was going to go to the other side, right? And that's where we're going to get to. It's just right now AEW is in so much turmoil despite their success behind the scenes, that if they don't start clearing that up behind the scenes, it doesn't matter what kind of product you have, you're going to have chaos behind that curtain, and that's not a good formula for success at all.
Good point, my friend. Great call, as always, Mr. James Ludeman. Keep on calling Turnbuckle Talk here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television, my friend, all right?
All right, man. Have a good night, guys.
Have a good night, James.
Thank you. Okay, now, speaking on the latest edition of 83 Weeks, Bischoff also complained that the finishes to a lot of the All-In matches felt like they had WCW disease and implored Khan to steer away from his current direction. There weren't many good finishes, a lot of solid action in some cases, great action, he said, but with the exception of one or two matches, the finishes and just about everything I saw felt like a means to an end instead of a journey. People should have been able to learn from some of their mistakes I did make in WCW or allowed to happen. Not only are you making the same mistakes that Eric Bischoff made and WCW made, but they're on steroids and they're actually worse. Agree with that? The last pay-per-view, there were some really good matches, especially that main event. But the Stadium Stampede, I mean, a lot of these matches, they didn't have a lot of great finishes. Well, what do you say to Eric Bischoff on what he's saying?
Well, Eric Bischoff's probably right. He's been in the business a long time. But Eric Bischoff also may be a jealous man because, AEW's here to compete against WWE. He's not involved. He didn't create it. So, he might be a jealous man out of this, but I didn't see any of the matches because I'm not paying for pay-per-view. I have Peacock as part of my cable system. I get it for free. I can watch all my WWE events on there for nothing. I'm not paying pay-per-view 40, 50 bucks or whatever it is. I'm not doing it. And so that's why I don't watch AEW's pay-per-views. The only pay-per-view I ever watched that I got to watch for free was the very first one, Double or Nothing. And I was in Raleigh, North Carolina when I watched it. It was really good, the very first one.
All right. So with that being said, the one takeaway I had was Saraya, of course, Paige, and former WWE. Yeah. Now she's in her hometown. She gets a big applause. Of course, she wins the women's title. Is this the right thing to do? And then, of course, you see Mercedes Moné and the audience. Is this this match gonna happen eventually, where you have AKA Sasha Banks, now Mercedes Moné, it's Moné versus Saraya? Is this what AEW is setting up, and is this the right thing to do?
Yeah, it is. Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné, or whatever her name is, needs to come to AEW and fix their women's division. It's terrible. Their matches are horrible. A lot of the women on there don't have. The only one that has good mic skills is Britt Baker. The rest of them don't have good mic skills.
Toni Storm. I think Toni Storm is pretty good.
Toni Storm's okay. Yeah, if you can understand her, she has an accent. But
she's starting to find her own character. I like that. I think she's a talented wrestler too. WWE dropped the ball with her, but I agree with you. They definitely need some injection of more women in that division. I think Saraya versus Mercedes Moné would be
that would be a great match. Yes,
that would be money.
That would pump the ratings up for the women's division, and it would be interesting to see what happens with that as well. So
All right, give me some final thoughts here on Turnbuckle Talk on the evolution of sports talk television.
Well, we're going to find out what's going on with the bloodline here. You have Jey Uso, who claims he's leaving WWE. The rumor was supposed to be Jimmy was supposed to leave and go and wrestle with his wife down at Impact Wrestling. If Jay leaves, I don't know where that leaves Jimmy, and the bloodline is now in shambles, and Judgment Day is about to become in shambles now because there's rumors Dominic Mysterio and Rhea Ripley could both be getting suspended for two separate incidents involving one with security and Dom beating up a referee, Charles Robinson. Now, one guy of all the referees you don't want to mess with is Charles Robinson. He's been in there too long and, for a long, long time. And he's a guy you don't want to beat up or anything because he has a lot of seniority there as a referee. And I hope they both get fired. I really do because they're both useless anyway in my eyes. Rhea Ripley's never fought anybody yet until she fights. Let's see what she does here against Raquel Rodriguez. Dominic's a waste, So I think both of them should be fired if it was me. They haven't determined yet, WWE, what they're going to do, but I hope both of them go bye-byes. Goodbye Judgment Day, too.
Yeah, well, I don't think that's happening anytime soon, but we shall see. Great stuff, Ralph Williams.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot for coming on the Sports Web here on
Anytime.
All right, good stuff. Sorry about the wait, but it was worth the wait. Thanks to all the guests for the night, of course. Here, the Greek professional handicapper extraordinaire, Leo Haggerty, the legend, Rick Sassone. We didn't have Roy Cummings tonight. We'll have him eventually on here, I think. And then, of course, Lewis Murphy. They're talking baseball about the Tampa Bay Rays. We'll be back on Monday night here when there's ever breaking news. Like and subscribe to the Sports Web on YouTube. Like I Love St. Pete, the Hub, Amped Up Sports, and Bucs Life. And do three things for me on this Wednesday night after your Tampa Bay Rays take care of business over the Florida Marlins, 3-0. You know them, you love them, you got to have them. Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. I'm your host, Peter Blake, your Rolex reporter. What time is it? It's my time. And for fans of the Sports Web and the Tampa Bay sports fan, it's your time. Have a great night. Are you an athlete or professional struggling with life or career transition? Life isn't always easy, but hope is always present. Best Hope Counseling will help you move forward. For nearly a decade, licensed marriage and family therapist Larry Baumgartner has helped clients empower change and discover solutions using a solution-focused therapy approach. Conversations will focus on what you desire to change, not just the problems that brought you into counseling. From anger to depression or other emotions, Best Hope Counseling is there for you. Contact Larry personally on his direct line at 727-946-1346. Again, 727-946-1346 for a telehealth appointment in Florida and Minnesota, or in person an appointment in Minnesota. Take time out and begin your game plan to reconnect, rebuild, and restore happiness in your life. BestHopeCounseling.com.